Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good one. We are back from vacation. And I guess I should say who we are. This is Cameron+Deanna. How you doing?
Still tired, so recovering.
Yeah.
But we're here.
Yeah.
We're back home. We have to get back responsibilities now,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
So we just got back from all in all, about 10-day trip to Orlando, counting travel days. And so, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
10 to 11.
And so we Deanna did runDisney. I hung out. And then we did the Disney parks and Universal. And kind of hung around Disney Springs, some of that other stuff. And so what we thought would be a lot of fun was to kind of do a recap of the trip as a whole, as well as kind of show off some of the cool merch that we picked up.
We got a few things.
Yes, we did indeed do some shopping. And so as we go through, feel free to drop any questions in chat. Feel free to just hang out, whatever. We'll just kind of be chatting through our experiences. If you have any questions about visiting Orlando, Deanna knows a lot of the things, and I just kind of ride on her coattails and have fun on trips.
Everyone gets just to mooch off of my hard work.
And so, so with that, we have a rough outline for how we're going to go through our merch and tell our stories. But again, if anybody
very
wants,
rough.
Yeah, very, very rough.
It's more of a put in specific piles.
Yes. And so, so Deanna, before you show off some of your merch, what is runDisney?
I was about to say, I'm like, they would probably tell people what that is. So I picked up running as a form of exercise, and that has kind of become a hobby. And quickly found out, I think I'd known about it, but never considered it, that Disney, or Disney World specifically, does their own races. So they have 4 different race weekends. They have one in the fall called Wine and Dine, one in the, right after New Year's. That's their full marathon weekend. They have 4 races that weekend. Then we went to Princess Weekend, which is all the races are princess themed. And then they have one in the spring, which has been Star Wars, has been some other things. This year it's something else. But yeah, and the company that puts all these things together is called runDisney. So they put together their own races, and people who've unfortunately chosen running as a form of exercise / hobby get to spend a lot of money to run through the Disney parks and get a lot of cool pictures, and they entertain you on the course. There's pictures of the characters, there's bands, there's movie screenings, basically all on the course, and you get tons and tons of pictures. There's photographers all over. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We got to run through Epcot, a little bit of Hollywood Studios, and we got to run through Magic Kingdom and run through the castle for the half marathon. So we did there's a 3-race weekend. We did a 5K on Friday morning, a 10K on Saturday morning, and then a half marathon on Sunday morning. And then the rest of the week we went on our family trip. Mm-hmm. So my sister and I ran those. We were already tired, and then ran the parks. Yep. So I needed all of today to relax.
Yeah, and recover. And
yes.
I mean, without the races, we were averaging 20,000 steps a day.
I'll say it was 23 to 20. Approaching 30 some days.
Yeah. And then I think on race day, y'all said you did 48,000 or something.
Yeah, it was 46 or something thousand. It was getting close to 50,000 steps on that Sunday, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Because we ran 13.1
miles, and then I feel like
then walked around Disney Springs all day.
I feel like an average park day is a 10-mile day. And then
that's being
generous.
Conservative.
Yeah.
I think usually for me it's 12 miles. So it's because usually I'm with my friends who we run
y'all
all over
got
the park all day.
And so so that was kind of what kicked us off. And And so, do you want to? Where do you want to start with your Run Disney merch?
Well, we'll do this thing first. I'm kind of thinking in order of when we bought it, which a lot of it was this. But we got these first.
Oh.
So we checked into our hotel, and we got these mugs. They say 50th on them. They have a bunch of resorts on them that are like the Boardwalk, the Contemporary. This is like the resort style.
Pop Century. It has
it has
icons.
ours on it. It's got Animal Kingdom Lodge, Grand Floridian.
So like it has like a little Millennium Falcon on it, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got the park icons on it as well. And so what these are is if you go stay in a Disney hotel, you can buy these and you can fill them up at the food court. So the food court has they have like little RFID chips in them, and they have the RFID readers like in the soda fountain so that they know like if you paid for this cup, you can fill it up. A panda boy.
Welcome,
hello.
and welcome, King Amos. We never actually said hi to you.
Yes.
We did a little chatting, but never actually said hi.
Yes. So we bought these because with how long of a trip we were going to be on, we would get our money's worth very quickly. So I would use it for coffee, use it for soda, Powerade, vitamin water, everything. Yeah. Even sometimes just ice water, but it works until I think they said 14 days
14
or
days.
until your trip or the end of your trip, whichever comes first. So these are really nice, and then we use them to fill up water throughout the day.
Yeah, and welcome J.M. Reedy as well. I think these were $20 each.
We added these carabiners to hang them on our bags.
And so this was definitely, it's something that I could definitely see if you're just doing parks, you might not get the most use out of them.
Yeah, you can only fill them up at the resorts. But if you visit resorts you're not staying at, you can fill up in theirs. So like one of the fancier resorts that we visited had a Coke Freestyle machine. So we had just like a basic like setup of Coke products at our resort, but we went to this other one. I'm like, you can get like ginger ale with flavor in it. You can mix stuff. So they had I was like, this is why this is the deluxe resort, because they can have any soda they want, any Coke soda that they want. So, but yeah, those are nice if you're going on a long trip. They definitely pay for themselves just for the convenience.
Yeah.
And you don't buy sodas as much in the parks because you're getting them elsewhere.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one, like, kind of what I said when we started getting them is that I don't know if I would have missed not having it, but I was very happy to have it. It's definitely just very convenient to be able to walk through and not have to worry or not have to just get water.
Yeah. Or like on the way, like I could get ready and do everything and have breakfast. And then like on the way to the bus or to the Skyliner, I would fill up coffee or something so that I could have it on my way to the next place. So
Jim Reedy says, I'm just here vicariously living through y'all's Disney Universal trip.
Yes, feel free.
Yeah. Happy to have you. And yeah. So that was those.
So then on that first day, we went to the Run Disney Expo, which is kind of like, if you're familiar with conventions, it's kind of like the convention store. So like if you go to any of the packs, they have their own like merch line, or like Star Wars Celebrations. Like here's all the Star Wars Celebration merch. The Run Disney events have something similar where they kind of have a mini convention at their sports center where you pick up your bibs and stuff, but then they have Run Disney, like the weekend merch specific for the races that are happening. And then they also have an expo hall where other people who make products for runners or things like that can sell their stuff too. So it kind of felt like a mini convention, which was nice because we hadn't been to one of those in a while.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I think in a lot of ways we tackled going to Disney as a con. Like we think of it that way.
It's like a very big con.
Versus I think other people tackle it as a theme park. And obviously like no one necessarily is right or wrong. But like our mindsets for like getting on rides, time management has kind of all been like honed in the fire of conventions.
Yeah. Like we know how to get in line and stay in line and not be upset about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I will show off my, I'll do my race stuff last. So, a few of the things I got. How does it mess up? I'll just keep it away from the thing. I got some of these, like the things everyone has on their cars if they've done a marathon or half marathon. It's like 26.2. These things. I got just a weekend one. So you can see it's all the princesses that were represented at the race weekend. So we have Mulan, Cinderella, Moana, and Tiana. And so it's just kind of like all the weekend thing. It's a magnet. I'll probably put it on decals. King of Misses. That's what those are called. This is it's called a car magnet, but I'm not putting it in my car because I don't want to do that.
Because we're not going to lose it.
Well, that and I want it's easy to steal too. I think it messes up your paint sometimes. And then the other one I got was the Fairy Tale Challenge. So if we're doing the half marathon and the 10K, you're doing the Fairy Tale Challenge, which I'll show you the medals. But the half marathon and the 10K added up is 19.3.
Yeah.
So this is I did it for the Fairy Tale Challenge with Moana. Moana was the kind of mascot character for that race. I'll put it on the fridge.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Christmas cards people send us.
Yeah, people do send us a lot of we get Christmas cards, we get all kinds of stuff, and
yes,
it'll be good for that.
And then I'll show you the jackets. These are pretty cool. So I got one again I kind of did a lot of the weekend and then the challenge because there was stuff for every single race, and that was just a lot of things. So the back of it says Coast to Victory. I can't. Here, I'll cover Cameron up. I'm like, it's just off to the side. It says Coast to Victory, 19.3, Fairy Tale Challenge. And it's like iridescent, which is that like themed color for the 50th. I haven't even gotten a good look at this thing. And then it's got pockets.
It does have pockets.
It has Moana on it.
It's got a hood.
Has a hood. And it's pockets, and it says the 19.3. And it also has the little thumb holes. So it's good for like actually like exercising or running. Kind of keep your hands warm. But I love the shiny sparkly.
Yes.
Shiny.
Yes, they got you with the shiny.
Yes. They had a lot of good stuff that was selling out. We were not the first group, so
yeah.
There was a few things that were like already out of my size that I wanted, but
and something that you kind of hit on there that I thought was really cool is since each race kind of is its own thing, and then there's the challenge on top of it, there's cool merch or there's similar merch for all of them. Mm-hmm. And so like you got the challenge one of those. But there was also a similar thing if somebody wanted specifically the Mulan one for the 5K. Marathon. Or
some of them I didn't like the base color that they were, or I was just like, I was leaning more towards the challenge stuff because that had the biggest number on it.
Yeah.
It's the most impressive. I did 19.3.
And Amos says, I wish guy.
Yeah, and I wish guy shirts had thumb holes.
Yeah.
Thumb holes are amazing. They got really cold
nice.
Hands.
I wish that was more of a thing.
But yeah, but I did 19.3 for the challenge, but we also did the 5K, so add 3.1 to 19.3.
Yeah. And
that's actually how many miles I did that weekend, but it's fine. And then this is the weekend shirt. It says, wow, Princess Half Marathon Weekend. And then the back has all of the princesses again, so this is kind of the banner. It says all the princesses and has that shiny iridescent. And I'm saying it like that because Disney's calling it iridescent, like EAR, not I iridescent. Iridescent, so. And it says has Run Disney on the zipper. It's just like a little fleece jacket, so it'll keep me warm. I need to like switch out some of my other jackets. I don't wear that often, so I'll actually wear it. That's my problem with like merch clothes. It's like I really like it, and I'm gonna have to like make myself wear it because I don't want to mess it up, so I don't wear them that often.
Yeah, King Amy says I'm out of breath just thinking about all that running. I got to tell you, having watched all these people do it, like, oh man.
And he's been observing me train for months and months and months, and just how much of a chunk out of your weekend that is. I also got, it still has my pass holder doohickey on it, but I got a magic band for the weekend. Again, has all the princesses. There's Mulan and Tiana. And on this side has Moana. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah. And there you go. And Cindy, and that's my annual pass holder little doohickey thing that you can put on your magic band. And this is what you use, kind of like your ticket. You use it to open your room, all kinds of stuff. And it came with this cool box. It's a limited edition magic band.
Yeah. I like the magic bands.
They're convenient.
I'll show off mine in a second. But it's a very convenient way to like get around basically. Since it's your room key, it gets you into the parks. It basically, like, you can, if you have an Apple Watch, you can use that as well, or you can use your phone for a lot of it. But it's just very convenient to have it just in this RFID chip that you can just kind of, I don't know if it's an RFID chip, but you can have it this little, it is okay. And so you can just stick it like on the thing as you walk in, it'll scan it, and then you're good to go into the park.
Yeah.
And
Artsy Bible nerds, a lot of patience and that's the thing with running these races. Is like the running part, like just getting up to that distance takes months to like get your body used to it to where it's not so daunting. And then just doing the event itself takes a really long time. I don't know how people do fulls. Watch, I say that now. I'll eventually do one maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because you're looking at, I don't know, like 2.5 to like 3.5 hours for a half marathon. If you're not like...
My best time was like 2:47.
Yeah. And so like...
So it'd probably take me at least 5 hours plus to do a full. Probably closer to 6, because the longer you go, the slower you end up. Right.
And but, it's just, it's a long time, and like it's a lot of determination, even if like, even just to get through it, like let alone the actual like trying to go through fast kind of thing.
Okay. And then the sponsor of the weekend, or one of them, was Corksicle. So they were selling these really nice bottles. It's got a straw. I'm trying to decide if this is my new like gym thing, so I can kind of show off, be like, look what I did. It's got a straw on the top, a little hold thing, and it's sparkly, but you probably can't see it. But
most importantly, has sparkles.
It's got like rainbow glitter, but then it also has the princesses for this weekend.
Had you heard of Corksicle before this event?
Nope.
Okay, I had not either, but they had really cool water bottles.
And then it says, this princess runs Disney. Yeah, I do, and it was pricey. I feel like doing Run Disney again, I'd probably do what most people do and just do the races and a little bit of the parks. Because the races honestly felt like a Disney and a running convention all in one. Like, it felt like a convention weekend after that, and then we just stayed to do like a family trip. So it kind of felt like two things in one. And then I got another thing to drink things out of that they taped very well. My biggest merch haul is from the race, because it's my first race. My wife has a Corksicle.
Oh, okay.
That's nice. And then I got a mug, because why not? Half marathon weekend. I think they only had marathon weekend mugs. It's got the ladies on it. And Cameron had to go find me the perfect one.
Yeah.
Because some of the art was kind of wonky.
Yeah, there was the first one that you picked up was like very mismatched.
Notice, hand wash only. You put this in the dishwasher, you die.
You die. King Heyman says, "Do you wear a bladder when you run, or just get water from the people that hand them out?"
For this one, I just got water. I think it depends on the race. This race, they had a water and a Powerade stop like every 1.5 miles. So it was like always there. So like, and I'm pretty good about hydrating beforehand, because I always have to go to the bathroom really bad. But some races locally, I'll carry it if there's not as much support. But like, this race had so much support, so much like entertainment. It's like even for a half marathon, and also my sister was with me, so I could talk to her. I never used my music. I always run with my music, and I have aftershocks, so like I'm wearing them in the pictures. I think they're around my neck for half the pictures. And I never used them, never turned them on, because they had music every once in a while playing at all the character stops. They had things, so it's like if I had been wearing it, I'd be stopping it every once in a while. So, and I didn't wear it for that half, and I ended up not missing it at all.
Yeah, because I think you brought it with you for the 5 and 10.
And then,
for the half, you just...
For the half, I ditched it, because I was like, well, if I didn't even touch it for the other ones...
Yeah.
Like... and for the half, since it's just a special race going through the castles, like I don't even want to bother. So, and I didn't even miss it, which is really weird for me, because I kind of need that to keep me going.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. Artsy Bible Nerd says that their wife has a Corksicle.
Yes.
So.
I hope they like it.
Seems like a very good choice based on.
Okay, and you will see the big ones of these in a minute. I have to get all these out. There's also a few other merch items for another section in here.
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. And so I think on my end, basically all I had to do was get up, which, was nice. And so one of the cool things for me is that, or on my end as a spectator, was that since the half marathon, the runners got to run through the castle at Magic Kingdom. And so as spectators, you actually got to go to Main Street USA and like hang out and watch the runners as they do their turn and as they run up that Main Street to the castle. And so like I think I got to the castle at like 4:30 on race day. And it was just like really cool atmosphere. Again, like everybody that's there is there to support someone who's running.
Support their runners.
And so it's just a really cool vibe. Everyone's very supportive. Great people to chat with. And it's a very cool, like kind of the same as you. Like I brought my headphones anticipating listening to podcasts the whole time, because that's typically what I do when you run. Like when you're at races, is I just put in headphones and just vibe listening to podcasts for the amount of time that it takes. But kind of the same thing with what you were saying, I ended up just taking it out and just hanging out with people. And then once the race actually started, especially
you're like cheering people as they go.
Because I think we were around, I think it was mile like 4.8 is where we were, or where I was.
Yeah, you guys were right. Like mile 5 was like right down the street from you.
And so I think with that too, there was just so much general noise from all the people cheering that I don't know if I would have heard my podcasts anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's like a great time, just especially with the castle coming up, just kind of encouraging everyone as they try to get through.
You're like there right as people are having their like highlight of the race. And anyway, but we can talk about that in a second, because that was freaking magical. I cried. And then, so something Run Disney does for like all the races for merch are these metal replica pins. So they're little like regular enamel pins, but they look like the medals that you get. So this was the 5K medal. Focus over my face. There. And so they have the little ribbon on the back, kind of like what you wear. So I'll probably get like a little display board for these. So that's the 5K with Indy on it. And then Tiana was the theme for the 10K. I love this medal. It's really pretty. Mm-hmm. It's glittery. It's like rainbowy. And then there's the little thing. And then, I mean, I love all the medals. All of the medals are really pretty this year. And then there's Mulan for the half. Strong lady.
And something that you mentioned too was that they were playing clips, like they had basically TV set up of the race,
like jumbotron things.
And so it was really cool, like seeing your videos of them as you were coming, and getting to kind of talk about, or getting to see them like playing clips from Mulan during the half marathon, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was really cool.
Yeah, I feel like I need to make like a compilation of everything I filmed, but some of it's copyright, so
yeah.
I think I tried one and Instagram flagged it. I was like, but anyway, and then this is the pin you get for doing the 10K and the half, the challenge, which was Moana, which was very appropriate because her like theme song is How Far I'll Go. Mm-hmm. Very run appropriate. And then these little things spin. Whoops, they're on this side. And they do on the metal too. I actually need to fix mine because this flower on my metal came off.
Yeah, the screw came out of the back.
So I'm trying to find a replacement screw for it.
Yeah.
And also the Mulan one is an action one. I can't spin it, but this part spins. Yeah. And the back, I'll show you on the full size metal.
Yeah. And that was a little detail that I thought was really cool. Called action metals. But the idea that it's not just a chunk of metal, it actually does something. So the flower spin, the Mulan spins around. And I thought that was a cool, like, extra Disney touch to make it so that the replica pins actually do the same thing. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really fun. It's one of those little details that, like, wouldn't have mattered if it didn't, but it's just a good, like, going the extra mile. Disney does not play around with copyright law.
No, they don't.
No, they do not. And so there's a reason there's no Disney music going on in the background as we do this.
Yes.
And so, there's a lot of really cool stuff. And it's an extra little touch. And we'll probably hit on that same idea throughout our conversation. But like that extra mile is kind of just what makes the Disney side of it awesome.
Super special. I need to figure out how to fix this shirt, but anyway. These shirts you get for doing the race. So they're included with, so like all that stuff I just showed, I bought extra. These shirts and the things I'm going to show you next are stuff that were included in buying registration for the race. So this is the 5K, and they're like kind of like a jersey material, but this is a shirt for the 5K. It's got Cindy on it. And then it's got all your sponsors on the back. The same for all of them. So that one, there's that one. I love these a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a girl who doesn't like pink. So it's kind of funny that I don't, I did the princess races, but I got lucky. Because most of the merch was blue. It was like perfect.
Yeah, the challenge and the weekend stuff was all blue, and
the pass holder stuff was pink, and I was like, well, I guess I won't get any of the pass holder stuff because it was all bright pink. I was like, no thanks. I'm a rebel. What can I say? There's like a little snag at the bottom of this one, but this is the 10K shirt. The 10K is kind of small on it compared to the 5K, but it's the Enchanted 10K. And then something I also did notice, which I guess it's on the other ones too. But the side of this one, the sleeve says Run Disney and Disney World 50.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. And also, if anyone knows how to fix snags like this, you see that in the material? It's just kind of poking out. Like, I'm scared to cut it, but yeah, if anyone knows how to fix that, let me know. And it's got a secret Joanne's tip or like sewing tip. Or maybe I just need to cut it and like put a little fabric glue on it or something. And then I really like this one. These next to are really brightly colored, but I like it a lot. Which they're good visibility. So this is the half marathon with Mulan, looking awesome. And I love that they put Mulan in her like kind of warrior outfit. Mm-hmm. They didn't just have her in her like formal dress, which is how she's usually shown.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's very orange, but like again, the green and the orange one would be good to train in, like especially when it's dark, because you're like, there's a human there. You can't miss her, because look how orange this is.
Yeah.
It's kind of a corally orange, and then there's the fairy tale challenge with Moana. So it's funny, like all the fairy tale stuff was blue, but then the shirt they included was orange, or coral orange. But again, like. That's the kind of thing, like, some of the colors are kind of ugly for, like, normal day, like this kind. I mean, I'd probably still wear it anyway because I like it. But, like, they're really nice for actually running and training because you can't miss the person. Because some people, I wear a lot of black and stuff. So it's like, no one will see me if I wear that. And then I'll finish with the medals. And then I still have my bibs. I need to figure out how to, like, display everything.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'll just get a metal hanger or a shadow box. I'm not sure. But it's my bib for the 5K. And I noticed they don't have a chip on it. So they didn't time it at all. But this one has a chip on it on the side. And then this was... so I wore this for the 10K and the half. So you just get one bib if you signed up for the challenge.
Bible Nerd says the green Mulan shirt is their favorite drawing.
Oh yeah.
I really like what they did with Mulan.
And then the half marathon was really was getting hot near the end, and so they were holding out free cooling towels, which what is this? Cool core stuff. So I got free cooling towels. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what all stuff I got free stuff. Okay. And then I have my medals in this fancy thing. And I have, for the Moana one, I have it like tied down so I don't lose that piece. But I'm looking for some screws. Okay. I'm going to have to get up.
Here, do you want me to hold? Or?
No.
Okay.
So this is the 5K. Do you see how kind of chunky these are?
Mm-hmm.
And there's glitter in the 5K, and it's like shiny. And it's like mirror. And then on the back, it's got the 50th logo on it, Disney World 50. I'll cover Cameron's face so it doesn't focus on him. And then the Princess 5K. It's got Cinderella's little coach there. See if there's anything on the inside. Oh yeah, 2022 Walt Disney World. Very special. Like, I really like they're all very different.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it with the pans, but I think they did such a great job going above and beyond with them.
Yeah, I mean, they always do, because you pay hefty prices for these suckers. And then here's Miss Tiana. And hers was great, because her song is, I'm almost there. And the 10K was really fun. There were a lot of people dressed as fireflies and frogs and 1920s, like, flappers.
There were some people dressed as beignets.
Beignets, yeah. And, like, her dress is all sparkly. So, like, if you're thinking about, like, pins, it's, like, glitter here, there's glitter here, and the iridescence. And, of course, the 50th. I have to angle it. 50th logo. And then there's, like, fleur-de-lis for, like, New Orleans and stuff on it. There we go. Walt Disney World 2022. Very pretty.
Artsy Bible Nerd, thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah. Then, Mulan's is really pretty. Okay, here's the half. So it's like kind of just wine color. It's got like bamboo on the sides, so that was kind of neat. And then it spins.
Mm-hmm. This is so cool.
So on the back, it also has that 50th logo. And then she's on the front. And then this is the half marathon. And then there's the inside. If I can show it to you.
Yeah. It's like, and like you have some other like action medals, I think, but that was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, that one's really cool. And then this one again has like a little, we're holding it together just for now. You can't see it too bad, but. And so this was the big challenge medal. Again, size of my hand. Moana's on it. And like, so, backwards. So this is just held on with string right now, but I'm going to try to fix it. And then they have these spin. Mm-hmm. So this is supposed to also spin. And then it says Fairy Tale Challenge. And then the Walt Disney World 50. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I have them in this little pouch.
Yeah. And then she made this basically, because one of the things that a lot of people will do is they'll take their medals into Disney World, like into Magic Kingdom, and then take pictures wearing all of the medals at the castle. Mm-hmm. And so Deanna made this cool bag so that they weren't just like clanking around and weren't going to get messed up in a bag or anything like that.
Shout out to Heather Jurgensen, Runners Without Limits on YouTube, for giving me the tutorial for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also at the co-op at Disney Springs, it's like a little place where you can buy random stuff. I got a phone case. I got an OtterBox they had the half marathon, mm-hmm. which is kind of neat. So this wasn't at the expo, but they were selling kind of weekend stuff.
Yeah.
Other places. And also we went out to lunch and I had my like half marathon medal and stuff on, and they were like, oh, runners get 20% off. And so my whole family got a meal 20% off mm-hmm. at this really good restaurant. Yeah. And I was like, cool, because I have an annual pass discount at a lot of places, so we're expecting like a 10%, but they're like, nah, for the
even more
for the race weekend, 20%.
Yeah, it was super cool. And one of the fun things with it is a lot of people post race will wear their shirts and medals. And so then if you're someone like me that didn't run, one of the things that you can do is tell people congratulations mm-hmm. and like encourage people that like, because you know what they just did, you know what they went through. And so it's just a very cool time. And that kind of carries throughout the week too. Obviously it's more so on the weekend when everyone is still there. But I think that was always something that's really fun about Disney too.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, because I would wear my medal most of the day until I got tired of wearing it. But I wore my shirt and my medal every day. And so it was really fun to just walk around and have random strangers go, congratulations on your mm-hmm. race and stuff like that. Because I guess some of them were aware that it was happening, or they just like saw all these people with medals walking around. So that was really fun. Just like having that camaraderie, because that's why it also felt like a convention, because then you leave the race and walk around the property and see other people who did it, and you're like, we're same. Kind of like when you go to a convention, it's like everyone here is into the same thing I'm into. Right. So, and a lot of people who do these races are like, they really love Disney, but they needed a way to exercise, either because they're like losing weight after having a kid. That's what a lot of the people in the princess races are like. They're in their like mid-30s or something because they needed to try to lose their baby weight. So there's a lot of people doing that. Like that age range was everywhere. But a lot of the people's like, well, I already love Disney. And then learning that they did events that were races motivated me to start working out and start running. So there are a lot of people there that are only exercising because Disney gave them a reason to, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool thing, and
definitely keeps me motivated.
Yeah.
And I think that's all the running stuff. So I don't know what you want to move to next.
Let's go through.
We also have Gideon's.
Yeah, we got a couple pins. So there's Deanna already referenced it. It's called Disney Springs. It's basically like a shopping area that's
shopping and dining.
Yeah, that's not like in the parks. It's its own standalone thing. You can take a shuttle to get there from if you're at any of the Disney parks or Disney resorts. And then it just has a bunch of shops, bunch of restaurants. One of the places is called Gideon's. You want to describe Gideon's?
Gideon's is kind of it's a cookie shop, but they sell like half-pound cookies, so they're like this big, covered in like chocolate chips or different things, and they have a bunch of different flavors. But it's a cookie place where they have a virtual queue. It's so popular, and like we went there Saturday morning, and they like a little bit after open, they already had an hour wait. And they also do a thing called hot cookie hour, which they serve it with ice cream. Like they have like a fresh out of the oven cookie. And that people were lining up for that. But they have cool merch because the theme is kind of, think like Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Kind of sketchy Tim Burton. Well, not sketchy in a bad way, but like drawing sketchy. So it's really, when you walk in, you kind of feels like you stepped into like the middle of a Halloween movie. It's kind of spooky.
Yeah. It's like, and it's not like goofy scary, but it's not like,
it's kind of eerie.
It's not like, it's a good way to describe it. It's not like,
it's not scary, but it's also not like they had like little smoke coming out of the
register.
Google, look up pictures of Gideon's Bakehouse in Disney Springs, and you'll see what we're talking about. It's really cool. And so they had these little pins. So
it's the same pin.
It's their like gargoyle. So he sits over the entrance. So he has a little gargoyle dude.
So we got like the black and the red one of those. You have a Gideon's shirt from one that you had ordered
Halloween.
Online. Yeah.
And they do like different seasonal things. So they'll have like a new character. Like they do a black cat for Halloween, and then they have like, I think a Bride of Frankenstein thing for Valentine's Day or something like that. So those are fun. Yeah. And then we did Magic Kingdom. Did we buy? I didn't buy anything Magic Kingdom Day.
I don't think I did. Something that we skipped.
Oh yeah, you got that.
Here's my Magic Band. I picked it up our first day at Disney Springs. We kind of already talked about what they did, but mine is Mandalorian themed, and so on this side it has the Mudhorn, and then on the other side it has Mando and Baby Yoda, and so
Grogu.
And so again, we kind of talked about how these work, but it's just a fun thing. There's a lot of different designs,
and they're waterproof. You can swim in them. You can shower in them. And
again, it's.
Oh, and another thing they do, if the rides don't have like a scan thing, a lot of the rides will send your ride picture to your. If you paid for the photo pass thing, I mean, it'll show up anyway. But like when you go on a ride, instead of like, oh, you got to go to register and buy your ride picture, it'll just load onto your band. Some of them a few of them are set up that way. Not all of the rides are. Sometimes you have to scan it. But yeah, you could buy things with it. It was great.
It's
kind
very
of like
convenient.
your key to the world card on a cruise, like.
Yeah, it's very convenient, and again, we kind of already talked about that, but I can't stop saying how convenient it is. It's super nice.
They find ways to make things convenient.
Yeah, it's super nice to not have to carry a key card to get into your room, not have to use an app to get there.
They make it, so you don't have to carry as much around. Like, you could leave your wallet behind. Like, you might want to keep your ID, but you could just have that in your ID and you're good to go.
And something that's fun that you had just mentioned is that you can use your magic band to get your ride pictures. So like after you would do the ride, it would snap the shot, and then at the end it would put up all the pictures. You just walk up with your magic band and then just put it up to the button, and then it scans it, and then that's how you get your pictures.
Yeah.
So again, it's the little conveniences like that too that I think are really cool.
And it's always out on your wrist, so you don't have to like go digging through your bag or something. So that's really nice. So do we want to do
Let's chat Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And just kind of chat.
It was crowded and it rained.
Oh my gosh, it was so crowded.
So we've discovered how crazy revenge travel is. So I think we like the ban. I think what happened, because I heard this earlier today, was, well, one, it was Mardi Gras weekend, and we learned that like states like Louisiana and some people get Mardi Gras off. They get Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for Ash Wednesday off school. So they were all there. Because on Tuesday, there were people all over the parks wearing Mardi Gras stuff, which Disney doesn't really do a lot of Mardi Gras things. Universal does. So I thought that was weird that I was like, why are you here? The party is at the other park. And then we heard a lot of different accents. So we heard people from different countries in like England and I think France and a few other things. So we think a lot of people have been trying to, like, for a lot of Europeans, like, the cool place to go in America, besides, like, New York or something, especially families, is to take their kids to Florida for a few weeks. So they were all there. Yeah. Because they could finally come over here. So I'm sure it was, like, in 2020, maybe they had a trip planned, and they've been putting it off and saving and putting it off until this year, until they could finally make it over. So I think it was a combination of all of those things, because I've never seen it that busy. Because I went October of 2017 and then October of 2021, a few months ago, and it was not busy at all. Like, we barely needed the lightning lane thing. We used it, but it was never a situation where, like, all of the lightning lane passes sold out at the beginning of the day. It was like you could keep making lightning lane selections, but for this, it's like gone early in the morning. Like, if you just have to pick your couple of rides and use that. But it was still fun. We did quite a bit.
Yeah, that was probably our busiest total number of rides day. Yeah.
And some of them was we rope dropped and had some lightning lane, and then we also kind of waited. We did some, like, the few that had short waits, and then we waited until, like, right after the fireworks to ride some more. I just kept checking to see if lightning lane would pop up, and made those. And we also ate at Be Our Guest restaurant, so we got a last minute reservation for Monday.
And so Be Our Guest is Beauty and the Beast themed.
It's very fun.
It's very good food. Somebody as Beast walks around, and so, like, welcomes everyone
It is Beast.
Sorry, my bad.
The Beast walks around. We are in Beast Castle, and he greets his guests, because we are his guests at Be Our Guest.
That's my bad. I'm sorry.
I kept getting onto my family all weekend, like, wow, she looks like that character. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mom. That is that character. We're at Disney World.
And so food was really good. Service was great. I was really... We kind of talked about, like, there's, like, a cognitive dissonance to it, where, like, we're all sweaty in, like, T-shirts, and it's this, like, 4.5-star restaurant or something like that.
Like, it's probably not that, but, like, the food items are, like, scallops and steak and salmon and, like, nice things like that. Like, they're probably not, like, the best cut of that, but it's still, like, good enough that, you know, most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And their French onion soup is
I mean, like, just, like, even the way that they talk about it, their food. It's not just like, oh, here is your burger or here is your steak. It's here is this thing. It is this with this on the side.
And it's like the French pronunciation of it.
How they describe everything makes it feel very fancy.
Yeah. And the places where you can sit, so you can sit in the grand ballroom, which is where Beauty and the Beast, or Belle and the Beast, have their iconic dance. So they have the chandeliers and everything and the snow falling in the background. And then there's also the West Wing where the Enchanted Rose is. So some people can sit over there with, like, torn tapestries. It's all grungy. And the Enchanted Rose is in the corner. And then we sat in, I forget what they call it, but it's kind of like Belle's art gallery. And it's, like, a bunch of photos or, like, paintings of Belle's favorite memories or something.
It's Belle's favorite memories. It's kind of, like, concept arty.
Yeah. It probably was like a concept. In the middle, there's like a giant like music box of Belle and Beast like dancing. So it's very neat in there. Bill's like there are two that are like this is in the movie, and then we were in the room where it's like this was made up for this, or it was a concept art from something, but you don't ever see it in the movie, but it'll still very much fit the theme, and you could still see like some of the other room from in there.
Yeah. And so some things that
they serve the gray stuff for dessert.
They do serve the gray stuff. It's delicious. So we've talked about Lightning Lane. For people that may not know, that's basically Fast Pass.
We got kicked off of Haunted Mansion because it broke down.
Yeah, so which started the trend of us getting kicked off of rides when we could literally see the ride.
We're having ride breakdown issues.
Yeah, and so...
Which I think were happening all day, all over the park.
All over the park. It's just one of those things that happens, and they almost always get it back up and running. It's just... When and are you willing to wait?
Because, like, Pirates was down most of the morning.
Yeah. And so Lightning Lane is the Fast Pass. The way that it works is you pay a certain amount per person in your group, and then you can have
$15.98 including tax a day.
Okay. And then that lets you basically pick
cheaper
a time,
than Universal's, and
that lets you basically get in a virtual line to show up for that ride between a certain time period. So you could get a Lightning Lane for, say, between like 9 and 10. And as long as you show up in that range, you get to skip the line and go through.
And then once you scan that in, then you can make another one.
So you can only have one at a time. But once you use it, then you can get a new one. And then there's another thing called Genie Plus, which is...
No, that is Genie
Plus.
Plus.
That is Genie Plus.
So the names make zero sense. So Genie Plus is what he just described. You get one at a time for one set price. And then there's what they call individual Lightning Lane selections. That is a mouthful. And it's the kind of the premium rides that have such long waits that it's a separate purchase. And it varies based on the popularity. So like the Star Wars Rise of Resistance ride was like the high-end cap because that wait gets up to like 3 hours. Yeah. So the highest it goes is like $15, and then it varies down from there based on, I think they do like surge pricing. So if it's crazy crowded, kind of like us, the prices are a bit more, so they're kind of discouraging some people from getting it. But when we were there, some of the prices weren't that bad. Like they were a little bit lower, but Rise was always expensive. But
and it's for both Lightning Lane and for the individual ones, for Genie Plus and the individual Lightning Lanes. It's kind of that trade-off of what's more valuable to you, time or money.
That's kind of everything at Disney. Is you're paying with your time or you're paying with your money. Unless there's nobody there, then you don't have to worry about it. But
someone's always there.
Especially when it's crowded, you're kind of going to have to kind of choose between, okay, you can, and that's what we did one of our days. We were so tired, we didn't want to rope drop. So we ended up paying to not rope drop the ride we wanted to do and just bought the individual selection for it. So we kind of paid to have a few extra, like an extra hour of sleep.
Yeah. So Magic Kingdom, what did we rope drop?
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
That's right. Which is a very fun ride. It's very mine-carty. One of the cool things...
It's like your typical like middle of the road roller coaster.
One of the things that's fun about it is that you're in the cart, but it swings side to side.
Yeah, it's like attached into the front and the back, and so you can swing.
Yeah, so if you can get your cart or, half of your cart on board with it, you can actually like force it to swing as you're just like kind of going or hanging out. And so that's really fun.
And it's, Seven Dwarfs themed. So like you're going through their little mines with the shiny jewels and things like that. And then you end like next to the cottage when they're having a little party. It's very fun.
Yeah. And then we tried to do Haunted Mansion, as you already said. We got all the way through the line.
They ended up giving us a free Fast Pass. Yeah.
They were like
That's how we rode something else. So they gave us a Fast Pass you could use for anything, except for like Seven Dwarfs. But
and then
I think my dad got really nervous because we were like in the queue, like you could see the ride that was not moving. It's spooky in there, and you're just like, I'm trapped with all of these people and we don't know what's going on.
And unfortunately,
we weren't trapped outside.
They kept adding more people into the area. And that was kind of, I think, led to a lot of the confusion. Yeah, because basically, I think by the time we got let in, the ride had stopped. And there was probably like two groups, a group and a half still in there. And so then we came in, and it wasn't that packed. But then I think they let in 2 or 3 more groups. And so we were kind of just all crammed in there. And about that time is when they called it and then just brought people out, refunded lightning lanes, or gave everyone a lightning lane, even if you hadn't used one. And so I think that had they not done that, it would have been not as bad, but it was definitely getting very rough with just everyone packed in this area.
Yeah, that was the nice thing Disney does is they make sure you kind of get what you paid for. So like if you use the lightning lane to ride that ride, they will give you one to use like on anything. So they're kind of like, you're always guaranteed that pass at a time. So yeah, that's really nice. So like anytime people get kicked off or something happens on the ride, they give you a fast pass so you can either use it for, and sometimes it's for that ride specifically, and sometimes it's you can use this for anything. I think it depends on what they decide to do, but that's what I really like that about Disney. They're not like, oh, too bad. They're like, oh, we're still gonna make sure you ride this because you waited in line, you used a fast pass, like you're gonna ride this one way or another. So we watched the fireworks.
Which was Enchantment, right? And so it was busy, I'll say. It felt like there was a lot going on top of it being a very crowded thing.
Yeah. It's not my favorite. I love all the Disney fireworks, don't get me wrong, but because I saw the show they did before this, Happily Ever After, and that is my favorite show. It's a perfect show. It's so good. This one, it's not bad, it's just not quite the same. It uses a lot of like Disney covers of songs, and it's 15 minutes, so it's a little bit shorter, and it had, like you said, there's a lot going on. So like they project things on the castle, and for this, it's like they're trying to involve as many characters at once at one time. Yeah. So you'll see like a character at the top and a character at the bottom and a character all over the place. Whereas previously the thing was kind of like featuring one character at a time, so you could kind of focus on that moment, one thing at a time. This one, busy is probably a really good way of describing it, because they also have, and we weren't even on Main Street.
Yeah, we didn't even see this.
But Main Street, they also project things on Main Street that has characters all over that too. So if you're at the back of Main Street with the castle like in the distance, you'd have even more things to look at. So it's cool because it's kind of happening all around you when you're on Main Street, but it's still just like, I don't know what to look at. Yeah. There's things everywhere, so it's kind of hard to like soak it in, right. I guess.
And so one
it's
of the things,
not bad. Yeah, some people really, really like it. It's just not my speed, not my flavor of Disney fireworks.
And I think one of the things that was cool is since they were using so many characters, a lot of the characters that don't normally get to be there got to be there. Yeah, so I'm a huge Zootopia fan. Like that's one of my favorites. So like Judy Hopps was there. Is a part of the show, and that's since
they
a lot
of from Onward.
Yeah, they had the characters from Onward. They had, of course, had like Moana.
They kind of had up to like 2020.
Yeah. They had Coco. They didn't have any Encanto. They did have Soul.
Encanto's too new for them to incorporate stuff.
And so like they had a lot of like the newer characters, and so like that it's definitely really cool to see. Of course, Frozen's a big part of it, and so it was very cool to see all of those characters. But it did feel like there was a lot going on, and they handled like some of it's really cool. Like they tie some stuff in for Elsa specifically, which as she does one of the things, basically her hand movements are what's shooting the fireworks out.
Yeah, so she'll like do this or like this, and then the fireworks will come out of that side of the castle.
Yeah, and so it's really cool.
But you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on.
That was something that bugs me about some of the fireworks shows is like a lot of people are like, I'm gonna film the whole thing. So one, you're watching it through a screen.
Yeah.
Just watch it with your eyeballs.
With your eyes.
And two, they're all on YouTube. There are people who record these things in like 4K, and they're all on YouTube. So if you want to watch any of the Disney shows, you can watch them on YouTube. So if you want to relive that show, you don't have to record it.
Yeah.
Any of you who go to Disney, don't be those people. You take a picture of the castle when it's over, or like when it's starting, like just at the beginning and end. But just soak up the show. Don't sit there and film it the whole time. That gets on my nerves, because also you're blocking people's view. I did tell somebody.
Yeah, we had to ask somebody to put their phone
Someone
down.
was right in front of us with their phone, like blocking my view, and I tapped him on the shoulder, like, we can't see.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, if you're tall, there's nothing you can do about it. But if you're literally doing this, like, over your head, I'm like, anyway, pet peeves. But it was still fun. Like, you have to see the Magic Kingdom fireworks. That's a given.
I definitely feel like I need to see it again. To actually understand everything that was happening, or to actually see everything that was happening.
If we had gotten like the dessert party, it probably would have been better because there wouldn't have
we would
been
have been farther out. We wouldn't have been as crammed in.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of fireworks, also some of them are on Instagram. If you want to go check out my Instagram at Deanna0790, I think is.
That sounds right.
My Instagram.
One has the 0 and one doesn't.
You'll find it if you're linked up to us. But the starting lines for the races, they did fireworks. So they do 3, 2, 1, and then on go they would have fireworks go off. And I think they did extra fireworks for the half marathon. So the last one, they set off a few extra ones. And I think also for the national anthem they sang every morning, they actually did like the bombs bursting fireworks
that's cool.
For the half marathon specifically. So that was kind of neat to have like Disney fireworks go off as you start the race. Anyway, I'm going also back to that. Like I met one of my favorite YouTubers running in makeup. I got a picture with her. She was there. Just a lot of great entertainment. There's some really good videos and stuff, but it's hard. You just got to be there. Go watch some people's vlogs on YouTube. Watch Running in Makeup's vlogs on YouTube, and you'll get the gist of what the Run Disney races are like. Anyway, so that Monday was Magic Kingdom.
Then we also rode Big Thunder Mountain
at night,
which was very cool.
And then finally rode Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, and then we closed the park with Haunted Mansion. So the way that it works is as long as you are in a line when the park closes, you are allowed to finish that ride or allowed to ride that ride.
Yeah,
so
they'll finish out the queue.
Yeah, so basically they close the lines at close, but they don't kick you out of the line. Mm-hmm. And so we managed to get in the line for Haunted Mansion right before close, and then...
I think we still had a lightning... I got a lightning lane for Big Thunder for later because there was availability for late at night because people were leaving. And then the one we got for getting kicked off of Haunted Mansion, we used again for Haunted Mansion, so we didn't go through the whole line. We probably could have just gone through the line, but we had the fast pass and we kind of wanted to head out. But that was really fun.
It was cool. And I think one of the things that was fun is getting to ride Haunted Mansion for me. That's one of the classic rides that I'd never ridden.
It's kind of one young kid they skip for young kids.
It's not actually like scary.
It's just spooky.
It's just a little spooky.
A little spooky.
And so it's a very classic ride. It was very fun to finally get to ride it because when we went to Disneyland for our honeymoon,
it was closed.
It was closed because they were renovating it.
No, they were changing it to the
theme of it.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. They do that every Christmas. They change it to Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
So that's a regular thing that we just were there at the wrong time.
Yeah. So I'd never gotten to ride it before. And so it was very cool to finally get to do that again.
Yeah, so trying to remember everything we rode was Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. We did Pirates. Mm-hmm. We did Carousel of Progress, which was very dated.
Yes. Oh, man. So
we did Space Mountain. We did Big Thunder. Haunted. I'll
say Space Mountain, not as cool in Disney World as it is at Disneyland.
Some of our group did Little Mermaid. And then... we had the big dinner.
They did go-kart. Some people did the go-karts.
Mm-hmm. Then...
That sounds like everything.
I think that's all we did. Yeah. So I think that was Magic Kingdom Day.
Yeah.
It was really fun. It was really busy.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
We did some shopping.
Yeah,
we didn't buy much.
We
just kind of window shopped.
Yeah.
I didn't get any Mickey treats. I didn't get any Mickey Rice Krispies. I didn't get any on my last trip either.
But we did get Mickey waffles.
Well, I did it on our cruise. We'll get some.
So that was Monday. Tuesday was Hollywood Studios.
We did buy things that day.
Yes, we did. Chunk says, did you ride Tower of Terror? Chunk, we just got to Tuesday where the first thing that we did was ride Tower of Terror.
We did our best to rope drop Hollywood Studios and went straight to Tower of Terror because I'd gotten us lightning lane passes for Rise of the Resistance and the Millennium Falcon. So, but Tower of Terror was first. Mm-hmm. It's not Cameron's favorite, but I love it.
I'm not a huge fan of falling rides.
This one, they pull you down.
Yeah, you fall faster than gravity on this ride. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it's one of those classic rides.
You hit the belt because they're like pulling you down, so you kind of hop in your seat.
Yeah. I was very happy that we rode it. Again, it's a classic. Happy to do it. And now that I've done it, I don't know if I would necessarily do it again. Or necessarily choose to do it again. I guess maybe that's the way to say it. I, of course,
you can be
would
like
do it
Dad,
with you.
who's like, I'm just gonna sit out here while y'all do the thing.
Well, see, that's the other side for me of I just want to ride rides, and so if we're riding Tower of Terror, let's go. Basically, as long as they're not water rides, I'm in. And so Tower of Terror, very cool. In Disneyland, it's Guardians of the Galaxy themed.
Yeah, they changed it over, but the original one's in Florida.
Yeah, which is Twilight Zone themed. Which I did not realize it was Twilight Zone.
You're now entering the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, and so it's basically like you're in an episode and this event occurs at the tower.
It's kind of like a custom episode for that, and it's based off of that. Hayden, we did. It's based off of the there's the Tower Hotel in Hollywood, so it's based off an actual hotel.
Oh, I did not know that.
But the story, I think, is custom. But the hotel itself exists. You can look up the Tower Hotel in Hollywood, and it's a thing. Yeah. It might look a little different to this, but that's kind of where the idea came from.
I did not know that.
They also made a movie with Kirsten Dunst in like 1993, and there was some kind of incident involved in the movie, like the filming process. There's some kind of helicopter accident or something. Oh, no. But I remember watching it as a kid because they put it on like ABC Family and things. So like I remember watching it. You can find it. It's just hard to find. Yeah. They should put it on Disney Plus anyway. Petition to put Tower of Terror, the 1993 movie, on Disney Plus, please. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we did that, and then I think we went over to Galaxy's Edge after that. Yeah, because we had breakfast and we took our family picture. We had Ronto breakfast wraps.
Yeah, and so it's family picture. So at every park, there's a thing that you can do where
Super Zoom.
They call it Super Zoom, where you stand in one place, it takes the photo, and then it zooms out, and so you get this cool video photo type thing. And so, and it's something
Chunk remembers the movie.
Yeah,
yes.
Chunk
Start that petition.
And so it's a very cool thing. Just kind of a very unique style thing that you can do. And then they give you the actual individual photo of your group as well. And so it's just a very fun, like, unique way of doing your photo.
You get stills from it, and then you get the video of the Zoom.
And so we did one in every park. So we didn't mention it for Magic Kingdom, but we did one as
my last trip. They didn't have the Epcot one set up yet, so that was a new one. Mm-hmm. So we did that. Then we went over Galaxy's Edge and had our breakfast Ronto wraps, which was really tasty.
Yeah, those are surprisingly good.
The Ronto roasters knows what they're doing.
And so this was my first time seeing Galaxy's Edge, which is the Star Wars themed area. And it's amazing. Mm-hmm. I gotta say, like, it's so cool.
Very immersive.
It's funny because prior to us being together, I would have described myself as a Star Wars fan. And then now that we're together,
set the bar in a different place.
I feel like the bar is a little high. And so
I moved the bar a little bit.
Yeah. And so it was really cool to see. They do so much with it. We'll kind of contrast it a little bit with Universal once we get later in the week. Mm-hmm. But it's so cool. Again, all the little details that Disney puts into their stuff. There's so many like little things, Easter eggs, stuff like that.
There's like droids everywhere. There's the sounds while you're sitting in there. Is like you hear like ships going by or like ships landing or different like alien noises or things like that.
Yeah. Just like the ambiance of that part of the park is so cool. Mm-hmm. I could kind of just hang out there all the time and be happy.
Yeah, I could just sit there and soak it in all day and be like, this is where I live now.
Yeah. And so while we were there, we rode Rise of the Resistance, which it's funny because it's kind of the same style ride as Haunted Mansion, just cranked to 11. So the idea...
You're kind of seeing scenes.
Yeah, you're seeing these scenes play out. We won't go too much into it because it's definitely one that if you have the opportunity to go, highly recommend.
Don't spoil it for yourself.
Yeah, don't spoil it for yourself.
Don't watch ride
super
footage.
Cool. And it's actually more...
Yeah, Hayden, we'll talk about that in a minute, but that's a very cute emoji.
Yes. One of the coolest parts of it is you kind of are part of a show, like even getting on the ride. Like there's stuff that you do before you get on the ride. And so that's kind of cool. And so you're just distracted by panda emojis.
Emoji with the little
with the lightsabers.
I love it. It's so cute.
And so
easily distracted squirrel.
Yes. And so I will say Rise of the Resistance is probably my favorite non-thrill ride I have ever done.
There's a tiny thrill in it.
Yeah.
It's more of an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. And so
it's like an interactive story that has a ride in it.
Yeah. It was super cool. Again, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. This is one Deanna referenced it earlier. The longest the wait gets for it is like 3 hours. And honestly,
well, I don't think that's the longest it's ever been.
Right, but like, the general days when we were there, it was generally got up to about 3 hours.
It might be more than that, but they're like, we're not gonna stop counting at this point.
Yeah, and so it was very cool. Again, cannot recommend it highly enough. It was a ton of fun. There's Galaxy's Edge as a whole kind of takes place around Episode 8 in Star Wars canon. And so
yeah, it's kind of like in the middle of The Last Jedi or like the beginning of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Ish.
And so there's kind of like that general time period. And so you get to see
Kylo Ren's still bad.
Yeah, Kylo Ren's still bad. Resistance still good. And so there's a lot of stuff there that was very fun with that. Again, lots of Easter eggs. There's some very cool, like you zip around through the ride and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so that was really fun.
It's very realistic.
Yeah. And so then after that, we went and rode the Millennium Falcon, which is Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Which a Panda Boy and this one piloted it.
Yeah.
I think we did okay. It's hard to tell how well you did, but I feel like we didn't crash into as many things as our second ride. But
yeah. So this one also is like less of a ride, more of an experience, where you are like, as a team flying the Millennium Falcon. So there's 6 positions. So a Panda Boy and I were the pilots. So I did
left and right and up and
down. I did left to right. Panda Boy did up and down and the jump to light speed. And then you and your sister
we were gunners.
So
they pushed buttons to shoot things.
Yep. And then your parents were the engineers. Which
I think they just push buttons when it's like, oh, fix that thing, or we need to release the cables to pull in the thing.
So the idea was like, if as pilots we bumped into things, part of the ship would break, they could help fix it, and that would get us points back. And so you're
they give you a score.
Yeah, you're on this quest to try to get some coaxium, right? Mm-hmm. That's the and so you're basically borrowing the Falcon from Chewie to go and do this. And again, it's a ton of fun. It's a very fun experience. You're in the cockpit of the Falcon, and so it banks as you turn. It does a lot of fun stuff. You can feel the ride as you go.
It's very like you're living a video game.
Yeah.
A Star Wars video game where you're flying the Falcon.
Yeah. And so I'll say the controls were not as tight as I would have liked.
Would have adjusted your settings.
Yes, I would have adjusted the cursor speed or whatever sensitivity a little bit if I could have, but it was still really cool. It's definitely a fun experience, and again, it's kind of that like when you come into the ride, you see the I want to say the living room. I don't know what it's actually called. But you see the like front where the
Dejaric table is.
Yeah, where Luke trains with the lightsaber for the first time. You see that area.
It's like the little chess table looking thing.
Yeah, and so it was very cool. It's a great experience.
The tunnels look like, and then there's one speaking of Star Wars, and depending on which way you go, like which part of the ride you go to, like it's weird because you kind of go to various places where the front is. But one hallway takes you down one scene from Empire where Leia's like pulling this lever thing to, I guess, try to restart something. And you walk by that section. So it's like if you really know the inside of the Falcon, you'd be like, that's the thing in that part of the movie. You see
that's
like
the lever, Kronk.
The ladders that go down to the gunner positions. Like you can see that kind of thing. It's like I think they really looked at literally everything. Like it's impressive.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It was really cool. And those are the 2 Star Wars rides that they have in Galaxy's Edge.
Those are the only ones, that there are. Well, there's Star Tours, which we also did.
So in the rest of the park, there's Star Tours, which is the classic Star Wars ride, has been there for a very long time. And so they have, like, redone it in the sense that it's now
They changed
more
the videos,
modern. Yeah,
it's something different every time you ride it.
Yeah, and so whereas it used to be more classic Star Wars, it's now set in the sequel trilogy. And so like that's still a ton of fun. Again, it's one of those rides. It's a classic Disney ride. We watched the Indiana Jones stunt show.
Yes.
Which apparently I'd completely forgotten that it was them talking about doing stunts.
I was talking about movie making of action films, not just...
It's not just a show.
You're not just rewatching Indiana Jones in real life. It's like you see like kind of the beginning, and then they're like, cut, and then everyone does... they go over like how they do stunts and things. They do action sequences. It's pretty fun though.
Yeah, it was really cool. Again, didn't say that as a complaint, but just as I apparently just had good, like I'd seen it when I was little and just had completely missed the non-actiony parts of it. And so, but yeah, it was really cool. And then
we kind of hung around for a little bit because it was also getting busy. We had lunch at Woody's Lunchbox, and Hayden got something from ABC Commissary. And my sister's boyfriend and his mom were there for a bit. And they got us on Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep, that's right.
Which is really fun, like upside down launch coaster.
Yeah.
We did some shopping.
It's back to Rock and Roller Coaster. It's
Aerosmith
themed. And so the idea is that you like meet up with them at the studio, but they have to leave for a show. And so you got to get on like the fastest car to make it to the show in time. And so that's the premise of the roller coaster.
So you're kind of like driving through parts of Hollywood and LA.
Yeah.
But like light up neon signs and things.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Super fast. And then, yeah, we did just kind of some walking around and shopping and had food. And then, because we were waiting for our lightsaber reservation, where my brother and I, a Panda Boy, and I built our own custom lightsabers.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Do you want to show that off now, or do you want to show it off at the end?
We can show it off now.
Okay. And so this is really cool. So if you go to build a lightsaber, you're allowed to bring in one guest.
They give you this cool carrying case.
I love this logo, this lightsaber logo.
Savi's Workshop.
Yeah. And so if you go with other people, they can come in with you. So even though I didn't build a lightsaber, I got to be there.
You could have like one person kind of be your like photographer.
It was a lot of fun. I took some cool photos of Deanna and some videos. Again, it's one of those things that's just like above and beyond. That you're not just building a lightsaber; it's an experience. And so, do you want to kind of talk about what you go through building it?
So you pick like a style. So they give you a few style options. There's like a kind of classic lightsaber, which is what Hayden and I did, and then
that's Truth and Justice.
No,
right?
No, it's I want to say justice, power and justice.
Peace and Justice.
Peace and Justice.
Thank you, Panda Boy.
Thank you. I was like, something in justice. Then there was like a naturalistic one that had like a rancor tooth and like kind of wooden looking elements. And then there was this kind of the Sith version, like a lot of black. And then there was kind of a gold. It kind of resembled maybe like what Leia's lightsaber looks like. It's a lot of gold. Kind of fancy looking. It looked feminine to me, or at least on that spectrum side of things.
Heavy breathing.
And
and so like from a theme standpoint, it's like classic Jedi, classic Sith. Like elementally, it kind of reminds me of Jedi Fallen Order's lightsaber. And then there is this golden one.
I think some of those designs are options.
Yeah.
In Fallen Order.
Yeah, and so it's very cool. And then for the design you pick, you then get a couple options that you can choose from.
Like 2 options for each stage. So yeah, but I'll show you mine and then I'll kind of describe. This is mine. This is the design I came up with. It's got a D-ring attachment on the bottom. It's got like this little gold thing, and it's got like this kind of like Anakin style hilt. Then this is, I don't know whose this is like, but I thought it looked cool. And then also kind of the Anakin Luke Skywalker style emitter. I'm like, and then this kind of switch. So you get one option for this, Yeah, you had 2 options of this style, 2 options for this section, 2 options for this, 2 options for that, and 2 options for this.
Mm-hmm.
So each one you'd kind of pick, so you could switch. Hayden and I's are kind of similar, but I think this part was different and this part was different.
Yeah.
So I think he did something more black here, and so, but we both picked this front, and I think maybe the same switch. I'm not, and like maybe this part. I'm not sure, but they look slightly different. I was like, did not want to copy him, but I like what I came up with because it's kind of got like Anakin and like Obi-Wan kind of vibes, and it's pretty chunky because this is metal.
Yeah,
it's not plastic.
It's like heavy duty.
And then, as you can hear, it's a little delayed, but it reacts.
Yeah, it's super cool.
It's a lot like my Ultra Saber.
And
but it's cool, and then so then it also, like, the LEDs I think go all the way up, and so they go like this. What is this that's on it? But and also what's cool, which I need to figure out how to take it apart again, which maybe I'll do that now so I can go into the next section. You basically unscrew everything.
Yeah, so you can take it apart. So if you had to, you could actually like mix and match them at home. And then one of the things that you can do with it is, and what's up, Nucky? Happy to have you.
It's a push. I was like, I'm learning how to take it apart.
Is that you can, when you go through, you get your choice of, I think it's 4 colors, blue, green, red, and purple. And you pick your crystal. And then, but one of the things that you can do is go to one of the other shops and you can actually buy separate ones. So if you want additional ones, Deanna will kind of show this.
If I can get
if we can get it disassembled. We did, and so one of the cool things that you can do is, so like she picked green, but if you wanted a different color, you can switch out the crystals.
There's another piece. There's another piece. And I think they all specifically go, okay, this is cool. So you can see the color that it is on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And then, will you open that?
Yes.
We'll just put these here. And so you can buy these kyber crystals in these little containers. So this is white, this is blue, and he's opening purple. So I can change the blade color to any of these things. So I think I just take these off. But it's pretty intuitive how you put it together. But then in the middle, there's your kyber crystal. So, and then you just pop it out like this.
And then
somehow you put the batteries in.
Yeah, and then you didn't do this. So like then here's the purple crystal. But you didn't do this, but if you buy a red crystal, there's actually a chance that it's black. That the actual crystal itself is black.
Where do you put the batteries? I have to Google it. But anyway, so you put it in here. So I've never actually done this because I just now opened it.
We're doing it live.
Doing this live. Now it's purple, and I think I can just put the saber in it without. I just can't turn it on. Actually, yeah. Here, we'll just put it back together. Here, talk to them about
so while she does that, I'll show off some of the other stuff that I got. Or let's see, actually, he says, "Wait, it changes." That changes the color. Yeah, so it's really cool.
So the crystal does.
The actual
change
crystal
the color.
that you put in actually changes the color of the blade. And so Deanna, who's in Rebel Legion,
purple.
One thing that's fun is typically if you get like an Ultra Saber or something, you have to like hook it up to a computer to change the color.
Yeah, like you have to hook it up like USB or something.
But for this, it's like a physical part that does it. So you could be out trooping, and then you can actually go and just change the color based on whatever whatever it is that you want at the moment. So that's pretty cool.
I don't remember which way this went. I think it was that way.
Yeah, that looks right.
I think there's only one way it can go.
Yeah. And so it's something that's pretty fun that you can do. And King says, I'm not even a Star Wars fan, but that's sick. Yeah, it's super cool. And it's
a really cool bit of merch.
Yeah, and it's cool that it gets to be individualized. It's really cool that you get to...
I think that was backwards.
That you get to make it your own.
Nope, that was right.
And it's a great custom souvenir that you get to bring home. And so
I thought I would pick purple, but the green called to me.
Yeah.
I love the green lightsabers.
And again, that's the fun part of getting to buy the crystals too.
Yeah, that's what's fun. You're not locked into one color.
Yeah.
And then you put the blade in. It makes a cool sound. And then this is the first time it'll be purple. That's pretty cool. Seeing it purple. Ooh.
Yeah, and so it's
kind
super
of
cool.
like a pinky purple, but I'm gonna try all the other colors. But
so that's
cool. I don't have a box for this.
Yeah, I was
put it in
gonna
the
put
green.
it in the purple. Just so we don't. And so that was the lightsaber. I also picked up some merch. Some of it I actually picked up some merch. Some of it I picked up a little later in the week, but it's Star Wars related.
Heck,
so
did you get this out of here?
it goes yeah, like that.
It's the other way.
And so I'll go ahead and talk about it now. But,
I have one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
They also gave me a belt clip, so I can hang it on my belt. Hayden figured out how it worked.
Yep.
Oh, there's the little clip. Because I have this kind of way of holding it. These are really heavy though, so putting it on a belt would be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, they give you the option of a belt clip, and also you could use a stand. But I have other ways of displaying it, so. But I was like, I want the option of putting it on my belt.
And then you already showed it off, but it comes when you get it, you get a bag, which is padded to protect
it's got like kind of like pool noodle type material.
Yeah. So that if you had to fly home with it, like we did, it's protected. And so then
they make you put it in the overhead bin if you're not on a window seat.
Yeah, if you're not sneaky.
So like put it in after everyone's with their luggage there. So you kind of have to be strategic about flying with it.
Yeah. So for what I got this Black Spire Outpost pin. And so the idea is that you're on a planet named Batuu. So once you cross into Galaxy's Edge, everyone only talks about Batuu. You're not at
They call
Galaxy.
photos holo scans.
Yeah, and so it's very themed. And then you're in Black Spire Outpost, which is supposed to be like the touristy destination on that planet.
Kind of like the tourist trap for Batuu.
And so that's kind of the in-universe lore that's going on there. So I wanted to pick that up just as a cool memory type thing. Then I got, kind of similarly, I got a Black Spire Outpost hat to kind of go with it. It's got the Falcon on it. It's got kind of just like a skyline. And so that's pretty cool. And
it's like none of the hats at Disney were kind of your style. You'll have to shape that brim.
Yeah, I'll have to do some work on it. This is literally my first time putting it on.
Yeah.
So I typically do the solid color with a logo. That's kind of how I do hats.
I kind of like that simplistic color too.
Yeah.
I don't wear a lot of hats because I have a tiny head. Like I have to cinch them down all the way. So when I do wear hats, it's like I've made this one the perfect width for my head.
Yeah. And so then I picked up this really cool water bottle. I wanted a new work water bottle.
It's
and
scratched.
A
little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It'll be fun.
It's weathered.
Yeah, it's weathered. And so on one side it says resist, and it has some X-wings. Then on the other side it says enlist today, and it has one of the newer helmets.
Yeah, that's
from
the thing, because it
trilogy.
is all set during the sequel trilogy. So a lot of stuff says resistance or First Order. There's not
really
Empire. There's some stuff that says Rebel on it, but it's like, but there's not a lot of Empire and Rebel stuff, which is a little disappointing. But they sell that in other stores.
Yeah.
So like you can get more of that stuff by the Star Tours ride, or like general Star Wars stuff, but like Galaxy's Edge stuff is kind of time locked.
Yeah. And so then it has this little strap thing. It says Black Spire Outpost, and then it says May the Force be with you on the other side.
It's kind of like a camping canteen situation.
And so I'm looking forward, like I said, to taking it to work and using it there. And then I got this cool shirt. It's a bunch of TIE fighters and moons.
That's no moon.
And so...
but also, I want to say, and with you.
And also with you.
So I got an annual pass for Disney World because I went in October with my girlfriends, and then I knew I was going to do this trip as well. And so we got merchandise discounts and some food discounts. So we went a little nuts on merch because we knew it was going to be a little bit off. So it kind of helped justify the purchases because we were like, oh, you got a discount.
And also, like, we haven't traveled much. So, like, we've kind of saved our con budget for the last year and a half.
Yeah, so
2
this
years.
was kind of our 2-year con purchases.
And so then I got this other shirt. It just says Star Wars. Then it has episodes 1 through 9 on it.
They're kind of like your Hawaiian shirt style, but without silly flowers.
Yeah, and so...
this is like light speed.
Yeah, I'm gonna... And so then... I can wear shirts like this to work, so that's a whole other side of it for me. Like, this makes it so I can actually just like show them off.
They don't make
that's
cool stuff
fun.
like that for women. That's all.
And so then it has this like light blue collar, and it says a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
I want cool shirts like that. Why did girls not get cool stuff?
And so that was super cool.
I want to wear geeky stuff to work, but no, I'd be a business professional.
Yeah,
and I work in a hospital.
And so,
anyway,
I liked both of those. They're very cool.
So
King Amos says, "Hey, you get thumb holes."
I get thumb holes in my jacket.
And so, so that. Oh, and so then after that, we have them here.
We went to Oga's Cantina and had a real good time.
Which is a Star Wars themed.
What's on this one? Oh, they're all the same.
Yeah,
I have some different ones from mine.
That we got. And so it's a Star Wars themed cantina, obviously.
Coasters.
And so we got the coasters from it. All the drinks are Star Wars themed.
Like, I had the Outer Rim and the Bespin Fizz that bubbled because they like dry ice in it.
Yeah, I had the T16 Sky something.
Hayden, name all of your drinks that you got.
Painted Boy says, we could keep the coasters. Hayden, I'm going to be honest. I think one of these is yours and you can't have it.
He stole it.
So
I have some other ones somewhere. You can have mine.
So yeah, I did grab the coasters. I might have taken Hayden's.
Hayden was a little bit distracted by his brain was a little influenced.
And so it was a lot of fun. Again, everything's super themed. Rex is there, who was the pilot on Star Tours, but he's now the DJ at this cantina. He used to be the
pilot for Star Tours.
And so one of the things that's really fun.
He's also canon in Book of Boba Fett.
He's also in. There's that same style droid in Book of Boba Fett. Doing as a dealer in one of the.
He's like a poker player.
Yeah.
There's Dejaric and then there's the card game.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't remember which is which. Hayden got the Jedi Mind Trick, the Bespin Fizz, and Jet Juice.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really fun, like,
all delicious drinks. You can't go wrong.
And so part of the fun thing with Rex is that every once in a while he'll break down and reverts back into Star Tours mode. And so
start like saying lines he used to say in Star Tours.
And so all of the people that work at the cantina have to go through this like rigmarole to reboot Rex.
They like grab a hammer and start banging on something.
Yeah, it's super goofy and it's amazing. It's one of those, again, it's one of those little things that that they don't have to do. They could just have this droid hanging out in the corner, but the fact that it ties in, there's so much of this other stuff.
And there's a lot of Easter eggs of like the different things that they use to make it, and like all of their drinks I think are pre-mixed, so they like kind of use like a draft handle, and all of the handles are like a lightsaber handle or like something of that nature, so that I'm guessing so that they can tell what it is, but it's also like a cool bit of theming.
Yeah. And so like there's also like above the handle, there's the thing that looks like the IG droids, which is a great throwback because they use that piece in
the Mos
A New
Eisley
Hope.
Cantina.
Yeah, and then IG-11 was just built using the exact same piece because they had it, and so it's a cool
also
throwback.
Like little aliens, and there's like little like frog egg,
monster type
liquids.
stuff.
Like there's a lot of, it's super well done. Like you feel like you're in a Star Wars bar. It kind of feels like somewhere between the bar on Coruscant where the guy's like, you want to buy some death sticks, and the Mos Eisley Cantina. Like it's kind of busy and like vibrant like the one in Attack of the Clones, but it's still very like kind of Mos Eisley Cantina like. It's also a lot like the one in Force Awakens. A bit. Kind of looks like that one too.
Then
is that all of our Star Wars gear?
Yeah. After that, we went and rode Millennium Falcon again.
Well, that a little bit under the influence.
Yeah, and then we attempted to get in line.
We didn't drive though.
Yeah.
We picked other people to drive.
And so we, after that, we tried to ride Rise of the Resistance again. It ended up
it broke down. And then we got sleepy and we're like...
Yeah, so we hung out for about 20-25 minutes, and then when the ride wasn't up, we left. And they gave us a free lightning lane for
the next day. Because they were going to give it for, like, you can use this tomorrow for this ride, but, like, we're not going to come over here tomorrow. So they let us use it wherever we were going to be. So we ended up using it at Epcot. I think we used it on Frozen, maybe.
Yeah.
No, we didn't use it on Frozen. We used it on Soarin'.
Yeah. And so that brings us to day 3 at Epcot. And so we got up and we didn't rope drop, right? We got there pretty early, but we didn't like rope drop a specific ride.
What did we do first? Yeah, we tried to do the France Pavilion. But that's the thing with Epcot. They opened earlier for like rides and stuff, but a lot of their food stuff didn't open until like 10 or 11. So we kind of got there, I don't know, somewhere before 10 and was like, well, no, we got there like 9 something because they'd opened earlier than they usually do. I think we kind of just wandered around for a bit, and then I'm trying to remember. Oh no, we went to Test Track.
That's right.
We went over and rode Test Track because we were like, my dad needs to ride this because it's about cars and engineering.
Yeah. So the premise is that you're at this track where you're trying to design a car, and then you take it out on the test track. And so to see how it handles and how it would do in certain situations and things like that. So it's really fun. So it was us and Deanna's sister built one car. Then the rest of the family built another one.
The family, my dad and mom and brother built like a submarine car.
Yeah, ours was, I think, Princess Unicorn.
Like,
Unicorn Sparkle was the name that we landed on.
We made it purple with sparkles because we could.
And so
let's pick something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's basically just like a fun theming to get you into the ride. And then at the end, they kind of break down your specs of like, you could get a more powerful car, but then that costs fuel efficiency, things like that. So it kind of had this cool like premise building into just getting on the ride, or rather than just getting on the ride.
And then and we took our family photo, and then I think we wandered back over to France.
And I think that this is where we had lunch, or had like snacks. So
I'm trying to remember.
Panda Boy and I got frushi at the Japan booth.
That's what it was.
Which was very good. And then we kind of just made our way around exploring for a while. We went to the Japan Pavilion, walked around that.
Yeah, we kind of split off from the parents, and my sister and her boyfriend and his mom showed up for a bit, and I was like, there's too many people that keep going to bathrooms at different times and seeing different things. And I think one part of the group really wanted to shop and look at a lot of the pavilions and stuff, and we were like, we want to go ride stuff.
Yeah.
So we kind of zipped through Japan, and we went through China, and we kind of skipped over some of the other ones so we could go ride a few things before the wait time started jumping up too high.
So we attempted to ride Frozen, found out that our lightning lane didn't work on Frozen. So then we went and rode Soarin', which is a pretty fun ride. Like you just kind of fly around. Yeah.
A lot of the rides at Epcot are like, you're here to relax and learn something.
Yeah. And so that was cool. Again, it's one of those classic Disney rides.
And then we went and rode Spaceship Earth.
Yep.
The classic Epcot ride where you go through the Epcot ball, which is called Spaceship Earth. And then I think at that point we met up with everyone, and then we
Seems
had our
right.
Space 220 lunch.
Yeah, so Space 220, the idea is that you go up a space elevator 220 miles above the Earth and then eat in space. So all the food is space themed, or at least name wise. And you basically are overlooking the Earth. And so other spaceships will float by. We found the Star Wars Easter egg where there are some people out battling with lightsabers floating around. And so
you kind of get, and like, it's kind of like a big observation station that's over Earth. And we were there like at 2:00, so everything was bright. But I think if you go there at night, the Earth will like show kind of what time it is by like if you're eating at like sunset, you'll see like the line of darkness come over the Earth as you're eating, and you'll see like the city lights and stuff. So, but the lunch is cheaper, which is probably why, because it's just bright outside. But then if you go for dinner, it's a little bit more expensive. I think you also get a dessert with dinner. It's a prefix menu. Yeah. And then if you're there like in the evening, you can see like a different view of Earth at night. So that's pretty cool. I feel like I'd do the lounge there though. Like if I did it again, I'd probably try to get in the wait list for the lounge.
Yeah. Whereas I think Be Our Guest was a really cool atmosphere and really good food. Space 220 I think was mostly just a really cool atmosphere. I wasn't overly impressed with the food.
I don't know if it was just the things we ordered, but it was just kind of like there was nothing amazing about it. It was fine.
It was good food.
It was good.
It
but
wasn't
it wasn't
bad,
like, but I feel like Be Our Guest was like, this is really good. Like, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if I were to do Space 220 again, I'd just do the lounge like at night. Just to be there for a little bit, but I don't think I'd do the full dinner again. And I don't know if it's just we ordered the wrong things or not, but it was kind of like I would rather eat the Be Our Guest food. Yeah. Which I was a little disappointed by, but it was still really cool to go up there and see it and see how they built all of that. So it was really neat.
Then after that, we went and rode Frozen.
We tried to ride Frozen.
Oh, we tried to ride Frozen. It broke down when we could see the ride.
Got fast passes for it.
Yeah, and so this was the third breakdown of the trip in 3 days. Yeah. And then we...
and I think we just kind of wandered around World Showcase. That's kind of the thing with... It was also the first day of Flower and Garden Festival, but we didn't really partake in much of it. I think the others did.
Yeah, I think they did more.
I think we wandered around World Showcase a little bit. I got like a caramel cookie at the Germany Pavilion. And then we rode Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Because,
it was fun.
Yeah, it was really cute. It's one of those, like, I wouldn't pay for it. I would rather just rope drop it and just do it. But...
Yeah, for me, it's kind of in that same boat as Tower of Terror, where I would happily ride it again, but it's not a ride I would specifically choose to ride.
Yeah, so like I wasn't pushing for the family to try and ride it. I was like, if we can get on it, great. But it's fun. It's like definitely do it if you want to, but it's not one of those. It's like this is gonna be a thrill and a really cool thing. It's like, oh, it was cute. Yeah, it's a cute little 3D ride. I know a lot of people probably really like it, but I think it's more of a like. Again, it's like Epcot. A lot of stuff is kind of like family ride speed. Yeah.
So then I think from here we went back and rode Frozen.
And yeah, I think we rode that, and then people couldn't figure out what they wanted to do again. We had a kind of large group that day, so it was kind of easier to just split up into this group wants to wander around and shop, and this group wants to ride rides. So it kind of became that. So we used our fast pass that we got from Frozen breaking down, and Cameron, Hayden, and I went and rode Frozen. And then,
which is a fun like riverboat ride or log boat ride, whatever.
Yeah, and then Hayden went back to shop in Japan and got a bunch of snacks.
Yeah, he got so much good candy.
He got so many things, and then we went and held a spot for the fireworks for basically a couple hours because we had a really good spot.
So then we watched Harmonious.
If you don't think you'll go to Disney, definitely look it up on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, and so it's a very cool like water fireworks show.
Yeah, it's kind of like water fountains, light fountains, and some fireworks and screens. They have big screens and like a water screen and stuff.
Yeah, so it was very cool. I liked this show a lot more than Enchantment. Yeah. And so,
I love Harmonious. It has a lot more of movie references from like our childhood. It had like Mulan, Aladdin, Lion King,
Notre Dame,
Hunchback, And then, but it also had Princess and the Frog, Coco. It had a little Beauty and the Beast part. It had Moana, Jungle Book. Some of those. So the idea of harmonious is, Hercules had Hercules. But so the idea of harmonious is it's music from the Disney movie, the animated Disney movie, Brave, that represented like other cultures, including a spot for America. But so they kind of had like, they had the Aladdin section. They played Arabian Nights, and I think part of it they sang in.
Yeah, they were doing it. I think in the language as well. So like for
Arabic,
Mulan, they did in Chinese.
Yeah, so they sang part of Arabian Nights, I guess, in Arabic, and then they sang Mandarin, some of Mulan. They did Greek for Hercules and Indian for Jungle Book, which I believe Indian's a language too, right?
I know there's a lot of different languages in India.
That's the
I
issue.
do not know the specifics ones.
And I'm guessing they did a lot of Lion King in Swahili, or the version of Swahili that's spoken in Kenya, maybe, because Africa is also a million different languages and dialects and things. They did, I think, Scottish for Brave, French for Hunchback, and then I think they did Hawaiian, or maybe a couple different versions, like Polynesian languages, but it's probably mostly Hawaiian for Moana. But yeah, they may have done like the Philippines or something, or like one of the other like Pacific Islands languages. But I love that show because, again, it has most of my favorite movies, and it's a cool representation of, like, look at all these movies that were made from places that are about places that are all across the world. So it's kind of like that unifying idea that, like there's something for everyone with Disney, or, like, there's all these different cultures kind of semi-represented in Disney movies. I like that theme a lot better than just Disney.
Yeah. The magic is in you.
Because that's like the Happily Ever After show that was before. It was kind of like, it was called like Unlock the Magic, was the theme of like, what is that drive inside of you that pushes you to do the things you need to do, and they kind of represented that in different characters. So it kind of connected to everyone. It wasn't just like, look, these characters are in love. It was kind of like, what is that thing that makes you the hero of your own story? And I think that's why I also liked the old Magic Kingdom show. Everyone petitioned to come back. Or I'd like them to do a part 2 and add some more movies that have come out since that show came out.
But yeah, so that was day 3. So that was Epcot day.
It was kind of chill. We did a lot of walking, but it was kind of like, we didn't do a ton. Yeah.
And I feel like this was when the parks got a little less busy. I definitely feel like Epcot was less busy, especially than Magic Kingdom. And so...
Yeah, or we went to the less popular parks at the time, because Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom are the most popular ones right now. That's where everybody is, because of Star Wars stuff and, of course, like all the classic Disney things. So that's kind of where everyone is. Or most of the crowd are. Like, if they're going to go to 2 parks only, those are the 2 they're going to pick. Yeah. And then we got up and we took Uber to Universal Studios.
Yeah, we took a break from Disney. To go to Universal. So the biggest things were Harry Potter.
Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park. And then a little bit of like Marvel Comics. And so...
and that's kind of all the sections we did. Yeah. The parks are huge and have a lot more, but that's kind of the only parts our group was interested in. Yeah, I'm here for the Harry Potter. Yes.
And so...
it's coming.
It's coming. And so, yeah, like there's like a Dr. Seuss section. There's a...
there's kind of just like different... neighborhoods around America. There's a giant Simpsons area, but I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons growing up, so that wasn't something I was interested in. But yeah, I was like, I'm here for Harry Potter and Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of fun stuff. We managed to get on all of the Harry Potter rides.
We managed to ride all of them.
It took us we barely made the last one.
It took us the whole day.
Yeah. And so we did...
We had to wait for people to go to the parade for the wait to go down at one of the rides. It was also busy there, too.
Yeah. And so... And I think... Can I say this as I'm bending down away from the mic? I think part of the challenge with especially the Harry Potter section of Universal, is that it is very, I don't want to say poorly laid out, but poorly laid out. There's kind of like a main thoroughfare that everyone is on. Then there's a couple like side things, but there's not a lot to do there.
Everyone's kind of crammed into the Harry Potter section.
And so they need to like spread people out better, and like move the shops around.
Yeah, there's kind of just one, like you said, one thoroughfare, like one area. Like this is where you can see everything is this one path.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of offshoots for people to go, so it's kind of like makes it get really congested in there. And the shops are also small, so it's kind of hard to like explore the shops when it's busy because they're tiny. It's one of those parks, like if it's not busy, it's really great, but on a busy day you're a little claustrophobic, but it's amazing. Go there like early in the morning before it gets crazy, which we did Diagon Alley first in Universal Studios, and we got wands
to Ollivanders.
It's got
and got our
I don't know if
wands.
you can see that.
Yeah, it has a little O logo.
It's got a little O on it that says Ollivanders.
And so we each picked out a wand, and so these are cool. Y'all have probably seen videos.
King of Mist is like, I'm here for this.
Yes. You've probably seen videos of these online, but the idea is that you can get a wand, and they have these.
Did they describe the one I got?
These transmitters. They did there.
Oh, this is just a map.
I don't know if they actually.
They probably have it online somewhere.
And so what you can do is, as you walk around, you can interact with some of the things in the area. So.
You could like make an umbrella, start spouting water.
And so we each picked out wands. And
Which one did you pick?
I think mine is the oak, which ended up being obnoxious and very hard to travel with.
It didn't fit in the lockers very well. We had to get the large lockers.
And so it was too long for the lockers, and I feel like accidentally obnoxious is like my MO. And
give them a good close up. It's very simple, but it's
very plain, which is kind of how I like it. I don't like a lot of the like the super fancy ones.
I told Cameron if it's the tip of your middle finger to like where your elbow bends, it's a good length. And he's got long arms, so it's perfect. Yeah. And so I'm like, a long wand makes sense for you, Mr. Lanky Man.
Yeah. And so King Amos says, "What's the core?" For these, you don't get to choose. It's just
I don't think they have a core. Whatever your heart. Mine's probably dragon heartstring.
Yeah.
That's what Pottermore tells me.
Yeah. Mine's love.
But but they also don't have my Pottermore wood option.
So I think they had 10 or 12 options.
So I think mine was Laurel, but that wasn't an option. Yeah. But it's fine. I picked one that I thought was pretty.
Yeah. So what did you get?
Mine is Ash, and I like sleek things, so it's black, but it's got like this cool kind of woodworking pattern. But then it's got like these kind of leaves. I'm guessing they're ash leaves. I don't actually know what an ash tree looks like. Kind of hard to see, but they're like a leaf pattern, so it's kind of like a dark wood. And again, like the length on it, it's like that long. But I like the weight of it. It's not too. Didn't want a really long one because I have short fingers and everything. So I was like, I need a cute little one. And I love it, and it worked really well. And I like the way the handle feels because it has like all these grooves, so it kind of feels nice to hold it like with your pinky here and like your other finger here. I feel like I'm describing like a sword. I'm like, the weight's nice.
It's perfectly balanced.
It's perfectly balanced.
And so it was super fun. So like there's things like Deanna mentioned, there's an umbrella that you can make some water come down.
And I like that these are custom, and they're not like you don't just buy the characters' wands.
Yeah, you can do that. So they do have a lot of the ones for the specific characters, but it's also cool to have some more general ones. It's a cool touch, and I think if you get the characters' ones, they work with they can interact with the other things as well.
I think they used to have an option where you can get a non-interactive one, but I think people were like, they're like, Universal, like, what's the point? Everyone's buying interactive ones, or like, why don't we just make the character ones interactive also? So it's not just I have this person's wand, it does nothing. Yeah. So it's like I can use that character's wand to do things, but I wanted one that's kind of like, this is what I would have chosen, or what the one that would have chosen me.
And so we're talking about getting a like display thing.
Well, it's like a vine.
So we can put them up together and
it's a continuous leaf.
It's a continuous leaf.
It's not a bunch of leaves. It's one continuous leaf that goes all the way up. Anyway.
And so there's a lot of cool stuff that you can interact with. Like there's a shop that you can do stuff and it'll turn all on. I think it has like chandeliers, and so it'll turn on all of the chandeliers.
Pretty sure mine had a phoenix feather. Oh, okay.
And so, and Panda Boy says his was Willow, was the choice that he made. And so there's a lot of fun stuff. That was one of the things that we did first. It kind of gave us a good chance to walk around and try it.
Hayden's had like a chunky end on it, I think, is what he picked.
But that gave us some time to try it out and go to the various stations before too many people got there.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of people in Nocturne Alley because it's really dark, but that means there were not like lines to do all those spells. So that's a good spot. And I'm trying to think what else with the wands. I lost my train of thought.
So from there, we got on the Hogwarts Express because we bought our school supplies. So it was time to go to school. Supplies. And so we went and rode the, what's it called?
I like holding it.
Yeah, you can just keep holding it. So we went and rode the Hogwarts ride. I forget what it's actually called, but
Forbidden Journey.
And so you're on these like enchanted like benches basically.
Yeah.
And so you fly around.
But you kind of hold on to a thing almost like it's a broom sort of. It kind of simulates like you're flying on a broom, but you're on a magic bench.
And so that was pretty fun. There's the same ride at Disneyland.
They also got this cool.
Oh yeah, and so best purchase of the trip. Upgraded to the reusable bag, which was
the wands really well.
Which was super convenient for while we were at Universal, and we'll definitely be using that a lot. Again, kind of just a cool memorabilia type thing to have, and so that was.
We'll do this last.
That was Hogwarts. Oh, that was and so then we went and rode the Velocicoaster.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And so it's a really new coaster, right?
It opened last summer.
Okay.
So it launches like 2 or 3 times. It launches at the beginning, and the idea is that at Jurassic World they built a roller coaster in the Velociraptor pen. So they actually like released the Velociraptors from their little holding pins, and then they released them, and then they launched the coaster. So as you're riding, there's like Velociraptors on either side of you, and when you're in the queue, you see a train go by, and then they show like on the screens like Velociraptors chasing after the train.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a jump scare there.
Yeah, it's like oh, and they like jump out at you, and then they had animatronic Velociraptors in the line that were like shaking. They're in those little head cage things that you see in Jurassic World, and they're like shaking it. So, like even the queue was really fun. And then they had kind of like a safety briefing thing where they're telling you what you were about to do. It's like Claire and Chris Pratt's character Owen I think talking, and they're like, and Owen's like, this is a bad idea. Like, they shouldn't be doing this. And Claire's like, it'll be fine.
Everything will work out.
But
Jam Rudy says, I want to ride Velocicoaster so bad.
Oh, it's so good.
So this is going to help you with that desire. It's probably the best roller coaster I've ever ridden. And so it was...
But it was also intense. Like, you might have a headache
it's
for a little bit
It's
afterwards.
a hard ride. And the only complaint I have about it is I feel like, since it's a double launch... Like, you're supposed to keep your head back the whole time. And the padding was not great for the headrest.
Yeah, they kind of needed more of a thing to hold your head back.
Because there's one point... Oh, and then, like, the wings on it weren't great. So, like, it wasn't great at keeping your head actually still, like, in that area.
Because I think they're mostly speakers that makes you...
And so there's definitely a point where I feel like what it does is you start to corkscrew one way and then do a quick turn the other way.
It kind of goes...
And... I think that kind of messed up my neck.
Gotta love coaster concussions.
Yeah, and so...
It's definitely, you gotta be careful where you're holding your head.
And so it didn't bother me too much then, but it caused some issues for me later on. But it's probably the best roller coaster I've ever ridden.
Yeah.
Jim Reed says, I've never been to Universal. I went to Disney a long time ago, but Universal is a land of mystery.
Yeah, it's definitely really fun now. Yeah. And Universal's building a third park as well, so you could also just wait for that and have a big trip to Universal. Yeah. Velocicoaster, it was one of those, like, it was really smooth, but it was like a lot of G's.
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot of launching, there was a lot of like turns, corkscrews. Like, there was one turn where you're upside down long enough that you're literally hanging.
Yeah.
So like they make you go through metal detectors and stuff and make sure there's like nothing in your pockets because they literally hang you upside down for a couple seconds at one point. You're not still, but it's like the track is upside down and you're moving. Yeah. It's not just a quick turn where you're like everything kind of follows the centrifugal?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't have a science degree.
Centrifugal force or whatever. And so like there is a point where like you lose that momentum, so you're actually like your thighs kind of hit the bottom. You're actually like hanging upside down for a second. Yeah. Like that was pretty neat. And then they do like the mosasaur roll where you do like a corkscrew over the water. But it was definitely like it kind of reminds me of like Mr. Freeze times 5.
Yeah, which is a ride that we have at Six Flags.
At Six Flags, because that's kind of an intense launch coaster. There's like a part where you hang vertical for a second. It's like that
on Mr. Freeze.
On Mr. Freeze, it's kind of similar to that, but it's not as loud as Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is really loud, but anyway, I loved it. I want to ride it again.
It was awesome.
It was so cool.
From there, I think we had lunch. It was kind of just
we ate the three broomsticks.
Had fish and chips.
Fish and chips and pumpkin juice. The pumpkin juice was good.
It's called the pumpkin fizz, which was the carbonated pumpkin juice.
It tasted like a fall candle. It was
so good.
Not that I eat candles.
And so it was amazing. If you're a basic white girl like I am, you'll love that. Like anything pumpkin spice is like right up my alley, and it was so good.
Honestly, I've had butterbeer a few times now, but after tasting that, especially on a hot day, I'd rather have that.
It was so good.
I think next time I go, I'll get that pumpkin juice because I expected it to take like straight pumpkin, but it tasted more like pumpkin spice. Yeah. Like a pumpkin pie flavor, not just like it tastes like a vegetable. So
from there, this ties in with the question King Amos asked earlier. How was the Hagrid ride? It was amazing also.
We had to wait for the wait time to drop because that one, Universal's up and down in their wait times all day, and that one was like over an hour for a long time. Yeah. And then like around a little bit after lunch, it finally dropped below like at 40, 45, 50 minutes. So we're like, okay, it's under an hour. We can do that.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
And so King Amos says it made homemade butterbeer. It was so rich and nasty.
It's very sweet. Yeah, it's like chugging sugar.
I can't do butterbeer. I'm not a huge like butterscotch fan. And so it's not like I've had some, but it's just not something that I'm into.
I would take it in like a little shot, like a little one, but they give you a kind of a big cup. And so I'm like, I've had like half of it and I'm kind of over it at that point. Yeah. So I'm like, I would just like a little sippy cup of butterbeer. I want like a champagne glass size, like butterbeer, not the full like glass that they give you.
It looks way better in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it looks so good in the movie.
I want more butter and less butterscotch.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's figured out like, because it doesn't quite taste like what I would have imagined it out of the, because in the books it kind of feels like I took melted butter and added like a butterscotch candy and then maybe put some like hot milk in it. And like that's what I kind of imagine butterbeer to taste like. Just like drinking a sweet stick of butter. That's what it just kind of sounded like.
You got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. See?
Yeah. King Amos agrees.
King Amos gets me.
And so for the Hagrid ride, Hagrid's pulling like octuple duty at Hogwarts.
Hagrid's
like every ride is Hagrid related. And so
there's 2 Hagrid rides. Yeah,
and he's a part of the Hogwarts one,
Express.
And like he's and the part of the Forbidden Journey.
He is your best friend while you're a student at Hogwarts.
And so for Hagrid's motorbike, I think the idea is that you're taking a class and learning how to ride enchanted motorbikes.
Or it's like you're riding enchanted motorbikes kind of around through like the enchanted forest. Like it's kind of like if you were taking the
Hey, what's up, Madbird Streams?
Welcome.
Thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate y'all coming in. We are chatting about our recent trips to Run Disney, Disney World, and Universal Studios. Right now, we are talking about Universal Studios, specifically on Harry Potter.
And we're talking about the Hagrid Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. That's the full name of it.
So, Varoth, welcome. Happy to have you.
I thought like hot chocolate. I'm kidding. I thought butterbeer would be more like a white chocolate, hot chocolate with butter flavor in it. Add butter. Like I felt like it was supposed to be more like a hot chocolate situation, but white chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
King of Mist, we will figure out what it should taste like. Okay, we'll work together on this. Bird Raid.
Sword Thief, welcome. Happy to have you. And so
that's how it's a half marathon. It was warm near the end, and my hips and my feet were screaming at me, but it was magical because we got to see the castle, and I cried. Mm-hmm. And I got to kiss this one on Main Street, and instead of castle, it was cute.
So I think the most fun part of the ride is that your ride vehicle is actually a motorbike.
It's a motorbike with a sidecar.
Yeah, and so we were discussing who should drive and who should be in the sidecar, and I don't like driving. And Deanna actually likes to drive more than I do, or likes to be the driver more than I do. And so it only felt fair for her to drive the motorbike and me to ride in the sidecar.
I also think he was just being really sweet.
And so it was really cool. That's such a unique ride vehicle that,
because you're kind of on the motorbike, you're kind of up high.
Yeah.
And you're like kind of leaning forward because you're holding onto things. So you feel like you're going a lot faster than you are.
In this one, it never had like as hard of a launch as like Velocicoaster did, but it kind of felt like you were just continually going fast. Like there would be points where you'd like start to slow down, and then you would hit these things that would essentially launch you. Mm-hmm. Again, not as hard as the Velocicoaster did, but it would very much zoom you through. It wasn't
giving you tears in your eyes.
But it was super cool. Very fun ride.
Mm-hmm. I was shocked at how good that ride was, because like from videos of it, I'm like, I don't see why people hype this up so much. But there was a moment in the ride that I don't want to spoil it for people, but like there's a moment in the ride where you're like, roller coaster rides don't do this thing that it did. Mm-hmm. And it shocked me, and I was like really surprised. I was like, this is something no other roller coaster has done. Yeah. And I don't want to tell you what it is because I want you to go ride it. But you can probably look it up on YouTube if you want to know what I'm talking about. But I was just like, the roller coaster did that? So.
And I will say also, it's one of the best themed roller coasters I've ever done. Like, I feel like for a lot of other roller coasters, the theming is in the queue. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of even like Velocicoaster. So, like, the theming's in the queue, and then there's some Velociraptors around you in the ride itself. But the Hagrid's ride actually felt like it was a Hagrid roller coaster.
Yeah, because it was really well surrounded by trees. Mm-hmm. I think that was the big thing with Universal that we noticed, especially versus Disney, was some of their theming was, in some places, was very enclosed. So, like in Diagon Alley, like you can't see any of the other parks when you're in Diagon Alley. You're just in like the Harry Potter world. But then when you're riding Hagrid's, there's trees all around you. There's like other Harry Potter things around you. So pretty much all you see is Harry Potter stuff. Maybe if you were paying attention, you might see like the top of another ride somewhere else. Yeah. But it's like, it felt like you were just in the Forbidden Forest, like, or in the area next to Hogwarts. But then Velocicoaster, you start out there, but a lot of the track goes like outside of the Jurassic Park area. So you actually zoom past like Hogwarts and you go over the water where you can see like all the other land. So it kind of breaks. Velocicoaster is really, really awesome, but it does break your immersion for part of it. It kind of breaks the theming immersion.
Yeah. And I think one of the things tying in with that too was like when we were at Three Broomsticks having lunch, we could see the Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like ties in with what you were saying about it breaking out and breaking into these other sections. So that was something that was like, again, it's all a theme park. It's all there to be fun. But at the same time, when they put so much work trying to build the immersion of the area, it kind of is like, oh yeah, we're having this great Hogwarts themed lunch. Just kidding, Velocicoaster.
Yeah, you can see Velocicoaster. So that is something that I think Disney has a better handle on, is making sure that when you're in a certain land, most of what you can see is that land that you're in. So it feels like you're in a different section. But Universal kind of, I think, doesn't do that quite as much. So it kind of almost makes it feel a little bit more Six Flagsy, because you're not always in just one little area, except for Diagon Alley. Like, that's probably the one spot where you're like, we are in Diagon Alley right now, and that's the only place we are. But in other places, it's a little bit less immersive. And I think with things like Diagon Alley and like Pandora and Animal Kingdom and Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, I think those types of things are kind of setting the bar for theme parks pretty high, because it's like you can make it feel like I'm actually in the movie and not like kind of distract me from the fact that I'm in a theme park for a little bit.
And that kind of ties in. This is what I referenced early on when we were talking about Galaxy's Edge, I think. And I think one of the cool parts is about the immersion that we kind of got to see both sides of. It's like at Galaxy's Edge, the cast is so into it. Like everything is down packed. Everyone has their lines ready to go. So like we were chatting with one of the cast members, and they asked where we're from. We're from Texas. And they go, oh, there's a lot of people here from Earth today.
No, or they're like, oh, I've heard of that planet.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas.
She was like,
I've heard of that planet.
Yeah, she's like, I hear that. And so like we talked about Texas becoming its own planet at some point.
They were like, yeah, right. They think they're their own planet.
And so there's a lot of just like those little things. And like once you get into Galaxy's Edge, everything is so set in stone, like time period wise, and everyone is on the ball all the time. Like when we were building lightsabers, the person that was like walking through the experience asked a question, and somebody, there was a kid there that, I forget the question, but responded, goes, oh, Princess Amidala. And the cast member responded, oh, and she's doing great work as our admiral now. Like, she's not just a princess. She's admiral. And so there's a lot...
Princess Leia?
Yeah, Princess Leia.
That was like Padme's...
Oh, I said, yeah, my bad. And so, like, there's a lot of that style stuff where everyone is so on the ball. Whereas, like, when we went to Universal, Sidey's Diagon Alley is in London. And so if you go through to take the Hogwarts Express, you can ask the crew members
where's platform 9 3/4.
And so like we did that, and one of the things that and you call yourself a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry, Jam Reedy, I let you down.
That's why I'm here.
And so you can ask them where they are, but it's like, is that an ATM? And it kind of feels like they're just like,
oh, like I think are you trying to find the ATM? That's what I said. Kim, do you know where platform 9 3/4 is? So, like, are you trying to find the ATM? Like, do you need change or something? Like,
yeah,
like I think you're lost. And then another person, I was carrying my wand into King's Cross, and someone was like, oh, good, you've picked up sticks. The Queen loves the park, loves that the park is nice and clean. So the Queen appreciates that we pick up sticks and stuff. That was funny. Go ahead.
Yeah, so even there, like, I think the stick thing was super funny. Like, that was good. The cast member was on the ball with what they were doing. But confused. for the ATM one, like, the person, I don't know if they were new, but it just seemed like oh yeah, I'm supposed to say this line kind of thing.
It didn't picking up sticks for the royalty.
Yes. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like as immersive as it had at Galaxy's Edge. And so again, this is like, oh man, my super fun theme park. They slightly said the line wrong. It's like the biggest first world problem out there. But it was one that like I definitely really appreciate about how Disney handles things versus Universal, which kind of feels like a super Six Flags, which kind of ties in with what we did next, which was we went to the Marvel section.
Yeah, and I'll say one other thing about the Harry Potter stuff was there were sometimes when you're a guest, you can either play into it or you can like kind of break your own immersion. So I know that like we'd like go up, like you'd go check out for something and be like, oh yeah, it was crazy over at Disney. And sometimes the people checking you out will like, oh yeah, we know what Disney is, but like if I know a lot of people at Disney are trained to be like, if someone asks you about something that's not involved in the place that you're working in, you're supposed to be like, I don't know what that means. Or like, what is Disney? I don't know what that is. But sometimes the Universal cast members weren't like as on the ball about being themed. Some of them were good, but sometimes I'd kind of go like, they don't know what that is. We're in Diagon Alley. They don't know what Disney World is, that kind of thing. But anyway.
Yeah.
Marvel.
So that brings us to Marvel. So this was like a Marvel Comics themed section, or even like the 90s TV shows. So it's not MCU, but there's some old agreement where only certain characters can be at Disney, west or west of the Mississippi versus east of the Mississippi. So they're building a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Epcot because that's one of the characters that's allowed to be east of the Mississippi. Whereas characters like the X-Men,
Captain America,
Spider-Man, all of those are only allowed at Universal, but they are the comic book versions, not MCU.
It's like Universal Florida has like exclusive theme park rights to certain Marvel Comics characters east of the Mississippi. And so like California Disneyland can do the MCU stuff because it doesn't fall under that east of the Mississippi rule.
Right.
You can Google all about it, but it is really interesting having like all these various versions of Marvel characters in different parks.
Yeah. So we rode The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, which is a like 3D, you're on a track ride. But the idea is that it's not the Sinister Six. I think it's the Sinister Syndicate.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
They've stolen the Statue of Liberty, and Spider-Man has to go and help them, or help people to get it back.
And we're in the Scoop vehicle.
Yeah, and then you're working for J. Jonah Jameson in the Scoop, which is this like news vehicle. You're supposed to try to go
like,
and
get
pictures and all that kind of stuff. And so through the shenanigans of the ride, Doc Ock has created like a levitation gun, and so that he ends up shooting you up in the air, and then of course Spider-Man has to help you and make sure you don't get hurt as you fall back down. And again, it was pretty fun. It's one of those that kind of similar to even like Ratatouille or stuff like that. It's
like a 3D almost trackless type of ride where you're in like the vehicle itself moves on whatever wheels or something that's on, but then you have 3D screens that you're interacting with. You get sprayed with water a lot. Get sprayed,
yeah. So it's pretty fun. They kind of do a lot to do like immersion type stuff of like when you fall, stuff like that. Even though you're not like actually even that high off the ground, they just kind of make it feel like that's actually happening. And so I thought it was a lot of fun.
And then you and Hayden went to ride Hulk, and the rest of us took a break.
Yeah. So we rode Hulk, and this is where Velocicoaster's turn really messed with my neck. Because it had been feeling a little sore, and then we rode Hulk, which is another
like launch coaster,
like roller coaster, and it was a fun coaster. But man,
it's a lot of loops.
Yeah, it's a lot of loops. I felt very rattly, and like I got off the ride, and I was like, I could probably not ride another roller coaster for the next several months and be happy. And I don't think any of that was Hulk's fault. I think it was just kind of the buildup of all of these other rides, and that was kind of just the one that like broke the camel's back. But yeah, the premise is that they're testing gamma radiation, because why would making new Hulks be a problem? And so they're testing all of this, and so then you become a Hulk, and this is kind of you running around. And so it was a fun ride. Again, I'd ride it again, but it was one that kind of just gave me a headache at the end. It had a much better padding than Velocicoaster.
And this was also our fourth
park day in a row.
Park day after doing like walking around and stuff on the race days. So it was like at that point we're all starting to fade a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And then I think we went back and rode the Hogwarts. Oh, we went shopping at Honeydukes, so we can show that stuff.
So we got a metal tin chocolate frog.
Because we already had like the cardboard boxes.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to open that too. We can. And so they have the cardboard one, which is a kind of like the movies. It's a chocolate frog with one of the wizard cards.
I think this one comes with 5 wizard
cards. And so this one came with the frog, and then 5 cards. And so we can.
This is a bit more expensive.
Do a bit of an unboxing, but it's more of like a keepsake since it's not cardboard. And so.
And there's your little frog. He's wrapped in plastic.
Yeah, and so we had, like we were saying, had gotten the other one on our honeymoon.
It's
the
solid milk chocolate.
And so then this was kind of just a fun thing for us to come back and do again. Ooh. So let's take a look at who we got.
Salazar
Slytherin.
They're on like those like holographic things, so they look like they do. So Salazar Slytherin. So that's they have like little descriptions on the back.
Yeah, so that's our...
my girl, Helga.
Helga Hufflepuff.
Helga Hufflepuff.
And before we get all the house founders.
Yep, and then Godric Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. We'll give kids swords out of a hat.
And then Rowena.
Yeah, Ravenclaw.
And then the man himself, Albus Dumbledore.
Albus, I have 5 of him already.
I bet you they're the same.
Yeah.
for these ones because I think most of the cards you get the Founders or Albus. But I think there's a few other ones that might be a bit rarer. So I think it's kind of like the mystery pin bag thing where you're like, oh, what you going to get?
Yeah.
You know, but I think a lot of the 5-set one, they kind of give you one of them. But
So that was really fun. We also got, I just put it
your
over
hat
here.
too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Honeydukes.
We got the Choco Balls. And so these are strawberry cream chocolate balls. And so
I picked those because I was like, Cameron likes strawberry.
I do like strawberry a lot.
Here, I'll take them.
Okay. And then from there, the wait time for the final, or we did some more shopping, and the wait time for the final Harry Potter ride finally dropped. And so we rode Gringotts.
It was like down to 35 minutes.
Yeah,
We're like,
from
go.
80.
Everyone
Yeah.
check out. Everyone was kind of shopping at that point. So we're like, check out of the store. Get in line now.
Yeah. We
My
can
mom
shop
and-
more later.
Mom and Dad had gone to see the Bourne Stuntacular because I think my dad was getting tired, but like, go watch the show. And so we hung around Diagon Alley to see if that ride way would go down and also just shop around some more. So
Yeah.
we rode it.
It was a lot of fun. Again, it's kind of the same style as the Spider-Man ride or even as Forbidden Journey.
But this one you're on like
So,
a track
yeah.
with 3D and water sprays at you and stuff.
Yeah. And so if you've seen the movies, it's based on the part of the Deathly Hallows where they're
In Gringotts.
in Gringotts trying to take take the cup from Bellatrix's vault.
Yeah, and then they
And so-
release the dragon, and the dragon climbs. And so in this, they do a thing where they like cast a spell that attaches you to the dragon, and the dragon kind of pulls you up behind them. And what's cool is because in Diagon Alley, the dragon is like a statue of the dragon sitting on top of Gringotts, and every once in a while it'll breathe fire. And it freaked people out every time
Yeah,
it does
every
it because
time.
no one's expecting it.
So that's super cool. That's one of my favorite parts was that the dragon's actually out there, and it's like and it's like an event when it does its thing. It's like every 10 minutes.
Because
Because
you get like a cue, like it starts growling, and you're like, it's about to breathe fire.
Yeah.
And we got ice cream at Florian's. I got some chocolate and toffee soft serve.
Yeah, and I got strawberry and cream swirl.
Yeah, and then
Soft serve as well.
Hayden got something else, but Florian's that ice cream's really good.
It was good ice cream. I was definitely impressed.
Like it's better than Brahms.
And so, and then after that, we did a little bit more shopping. And so I got a Ravenclaw team captain Quidditch hat. And so I'd wanted to get a Quidditch shirt.
Hat switch.
And so this one already fits a little better. I'd wanted to get a specific it's like a Ravenclaw Seeker shirt, but they were sold out of my size, and so that wasn't an option.
I didn't know you got that one.
And so then I got a Weasley pin for what's the shop?
Weasley's Wizard Wheezes.
Yes, that's what it is. And so I picked that up as well. And then I got a kind of to go with the hat. I got a Ravenclaw Quidditch position pin set.
Seeker, chaser, beater,
and keeper.
chaser.
And so that was very cool. And then we picked up
The tag.
yeah, I had the tag still on it. And then picked up a card game called Exploding Snaps.
And I feel like they reference that in the books.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's actually a thing.
And so it's a fast-paced game with explosive possibilities. And so we picked it up just as a quick game because it's a small
Kind of looks like
box.
it might be like Uno.
Yeah, and so we just picked it up as a great game that we can carry around. If we go hang out with friends someplace, we can bring it with us. We go to some breweries with friends, and so it's just
some
kind of a
local
game that we can
hangout places.
easily transport around. And so
And then, since we rode everything and we shopped everything, we headed out of the park, and we were there during Mardi Gras, as we mentioned earlier. And Universal does a Mardi Gras parade, and they just basically continuously throw beads out.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
yeah,
with the
it
beads.
is safe for work.
Family friendly
Yeah.
Mardi Gras. And so we got some beads. These are the ones I got. So I caught them out. I don't remember if I caught both of them or if I picked one of them up, but I was like, we experienced Mardi Gras for like 2 seconds because we caught like the very end of it while we were heading out of the park. And so I caught some Mardi Gras beads. So I'm like, this counts as a souvenir. It's a free souvenir.
Free souvenir. And so then from there, we headed out to, what was that place? The Universal
City
Walk. Which is kind of their equivalent of Disney Springs, except it's actually connected to the parks.
It's more like similar, Disneyland, downtown
Yeah.
Disney.
And so that was pretty fun. We had dinner there. We went to some more shops. Didn't actually end up buying anything else. But then we had dinner and then eventually made our way back.
Back to Disney.
Yeah.
Back to the bubble.
Back to the Disney bubble, which then brings us to Park Day 5. Back at Disney, we went to Animal Kingdom.
That morning, yep.
Yeah. And so...
And I don't think we bought any... No one bought souvenirs there.
I don't think so.
We kind of took it easy. We went and the first thing we did was the safari, which already had kind of a bit of a wait. Yeah. And I think we did the safari and we almost got broke down on the safari, but it was because another vehicle broke down and they had to tow it out or get it to start so that we could go on the safari. So that was the first thing we did.
Yeah, the safari is very fun. It's a great way to see the animals.
We saw a lot of animals.
Yeah, there was a baby rhino. I think they said there's like 6-ish months old.
Like 5 months old.
And
so cute.
So that was really fun. Trying to think if there's anything else.
We saw
they had
cheetahs,
an okapi. They had some cheetahs.
Hippos, crocodiles. The lions were kind of hidden, so we kind of saw them. We saw wild painted dogs, giraffes, and zebras walked really close to our vehicle. Black rhinos, white rhinos, elephants, wildebeest, Angola cattle, little African pygmy goats.
Yeah. But one thing that's very fun is that, like, for a good chunk of the animals, the non-attacky ones, you're basically just driving through the area that they're in. And
like the giraffe can block your path, and they have to just sit there and wait.
Yeah, and so like that's super cool. You're not like seeing them all behind fences. Obviously, when you get to stuff like the lions and cheetahs, they are farther off. But it's just a very cool way to get to see the animals, especially as people that are city people. We aren't regularly around
and
those types of animals. So.
And it's not like a drive-through park, because drive-through parks usually feed them. And so, like, at drive-through parks, animals are like, a car, I will walk up to it and stick my head in it.
Yep.
Whereas here, the animals are trained to be fed, not trained, but they are fed in their exhibit. So they don't come up to, like, if they come up to the vehicle, it's just because they're comfortable with it. But they're not going to, like, come up and stick their head in there or something like that, because they're like, there's no food in there. But, yeah, and we had a really good guide. Jeep driver, and we were at the back, which was kind of cool because you would think you'd want to be in the front, but in the back you can kind of like
look around. It's easier to look behind you. You can turn
around and look behind you and see where you just came from. So that was kind of a good spot to be. Then where did we go after that?
We saw a little bit of the kite show.
Oh, we did the Gorilla Falls. We walked around.
Oh yeah, we went to Gorilla Falls.
The walking trails for animals.
Yeah, which is much more of like a traditional zoo type thing, where you're walking through the end. There is like an aviary that you can walk through where you can be much more close to some birds, but in general, the animals are farther off.
Yeah, we did that, the Gorilla Falls Jungle Trek, and we did the Maharaja Jungle Trek, which has like tigers and a few other things. I think it had maybe the Komodo dragon was in that one.
Yes, that sounds right.
So those are like kind of chill, just walk through. We also got some ice cream and stuff before we did that. And then I think we saw a little bit of that kite tail show, which was flying around the lagoon. And we took our picture, our Zoom picture for the day by Expedition Everest. And Expedition Everest was not running. It's that park's roller coaster. And they're refurbishing it. They basically sound like they're doing like a computer update. Like maybe they installed a new type of, like a more updated computer, and they're having to like upgrade the software and sensors to go with the new thing. So they're doing basically a big system update for that ride. Yeah. And then we rode Dinosaur, which is fun, a lot of fun. Looked like most of the dinosaurs were actually working today. I think one of them was in B mode, which was just not moving. Yeah. Last time I think there were a few that were turned off when I went in October, but this one looked like most of them were working. That's a ride from the 90s when it opened. I'm surprised they haven't really like updated that one a lot, but it's still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We had dinosaur, and then I think we headed through the main front, and we went to go eat at Satuli Canteen for like a late lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We had cheeseburger pods, which were yummy. Then we watched the Festival of the Lion King show, which is used to be more of a circus situation, but they're kind of doing like a modified version for COVID. So that was more of just like dancing and singing and a fire twirler. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to like sit and rest and have a good show. And then we went to we used our lightning lane that we purchased so we could sleep in to ride Avatar Flight of Passage. And then what did you think about all that?
Yeah, so Flight of Passage, I bit my tongue. I was so excited. I bit my tongue. And so Flight of Passage was very cool. Again, very like fun theming. I'm not a huge Avatar fan. So there was a little bit of that I was just like, oh, this is what it is. But the actual like ride itself is very cool. The idea is that you're syncing up with an avatar and then you're riding on a banshee. But one of the cool parts of the ride is that it feels like you're sitting more on like a motorcycle, where you're strapped in. There's like a support behind you, and your legs are actually like not locked in tight, but like you can't pull your legs out. And that's because since you're on a banshee, it's simulating like this animal breathing as you're riding.
It's kind of like silicone pads, and it's like vibrates and things. And
so, so the idea is that you're like flying through the forest on these banshees. And it was really fun. Like, again, like I'm not necessarily huge on the theme, but it was a very well done. I know one of the things that you kept pointing out as it was going was the smell, that they actually like pipe in smells based on where you are.
Yeah,
and
very unique smells that go with what you're doing.
So that was like super cool. Again, it's kind of like that extra mile kind of thing. And it was very fun. You like go around the ocean. You kind of just fly around Pandora some.
It's basically a flight simulator. So you're 3D glasses with a screen, and it's like moving up and down and doing different things.
So it's another one of those kind of like what we discussed with Spider-Man, where you're not actually moving that far, but the way that they simulate it really makes you feel like you're doing these dives. You're doing all of this stuff. Like, again, kind of cranked up to 11 compared to Spider-Man. But it was just a very fun way of doing that ride. And so I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one that like I would do again. And then from there, we grabbed,
we park hopped after that.
I had a drink called the Nightshade, which is
the Night Blossom.
Night Blossom, that's what it was. And so that was really cool. And then we park hopped. We went back to Hollywood Studios because some of the stuff that I showed off earlier, I hadn't.
The water bottle.
Yeah, the water bottle. I wasn't able to actually buy when we were there on Tuesday, and so I wanted to go back to grab it just in case.
Last couple of pictures.
Yeah, we took some more photos of us, and then we headed out to date night, where we went to the Grand Floridian to Narcoossee's. Narcoossee's. And so
it's like a seafood based restaurant.
And so it was very good.
He inhaled his pasta.
Yeah, it was so good.
I feel like I liked what I had, but I think you had the better dish.
I think I had the shrimp scampi, and lobster bisque as well for the appetizer.
And they had bread and I got a glass of wine from the Skywalker Vineyards. Yeah, which is on George Lucas's property. There's a vineyard over there because it's in the same area as Napa. Yeah. So there's you can buy Skywalker wine, and they had the Skywalker rosé, and so I'm kind of determined. One of these days I might just like if you need a thing for my birthday, you can just order a case of every Skywalker wine, and because the bottle's cool too. It doesn't have like Jedi or anything. It's kind of like an angel looking logo on it, but it says Skywalker on it. So
Jane Marie says, gotta love shrimp scampi. Yes, it was so good.
Yeah. Fun fact, I had wine grown on Skywalker Ranch property. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. I can't tell the difference wine to wine half the time. But the grapes were grown
but this was Star Wars wine.
Even if they weren't grown there, it was bottled there or whatever.
Yeah. And so that was, so that was a great dinner, great atmosphere. We could see the Magic Kingdom fireworks show while we were there.
Through the windows.
So,
People, they dimmed the lights and piped in the music for the Magic Kingdom fireworks. And some people went out on the like porch to watch it. And we just stayed in because I had a window.
Yeah. So like we could have asked them to like hold off on making our food until the show ended. We ended up not doing that and kind of just ate and watched.
We'd already watched them up close. So.
But you could do that. So again, that's another one of those very nice like extra touches. And then one of my favorite parts of that was some of the kitchen staff, like some of the cooks came out to watch the show, which I thought was really cool.
Midi-chlorian enhanced flavors, yes.
And
could
so
just tell.
I thought it was cool that the people that are there every day still wanted to come out and watch the show.
Yeah. I
thought that was super cool.
And also they might be there just to make sure guests aren't doing silly things. Because it's right on the water. But.
Yeah. From there,
we watched the electrical water pageant.
Oh yes,
which is super dorky
it's
and
so
cute.
Goofy.
It's like there's like a little sea dragon and there's like an octopus and then there's a bit where they play like Little Mermaid music and you see my chair just sank. I was like, I just shrank a little bit. And then they do like Little Mermaid music and you see like King Triton's like little chariot. And then randomly all these like LED panels do like patriotic music and show like the American flag. And then at the beginning and end, they show like the 50th castle logo with like swirlies. And they play, I think, a little bit of the Magic Kingdom fireworks music. But yeah, you can Google Bay Lake like electrical water pageant. It's super dorky. It's like old 80s synthesizer.
It's very it always seems like 8-bit, like that style of chip tunes from like classic games, that kind of thing.
It was cute. I was glad we caught it because like that's the place. I'm sinking still. That's
going down.
That's the place to watch is on the water by Magic Kingdom, by those resorts. But it's super dorky, but I love it. It's like old Disney, like, and we did dorky things and didn't care.
Yeah.
And then we went over to, there's a bar in the Grand Floridian called the Enchanted Rose, so it's kind of Beauty and the Beast themed, and then this was the coasters. It was very cool in there. However, our experience was actually not that great, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah.
I kept the coaster because coaster's pretty. But I had like an Earl Grey lavender thing, which I like those flavors in like a coffee drink, or like a hot tea drink. But it had gin in it, and it made it taste like medicine.
Yeah, it was
or
not
like
good.
Soapy medicine. And I was like, I wanted to like this, but it feels like I should not be drinking this, so I didn't make it very far. And then you kind of had like a basic like orange.
Yeah, margarita. I had an orange margarita, which was fine. It was one of those that. Like, it was good, but not great. And then...
we had a cheese board, but the cheeses
I'm going to be honest, it was probably some of the worst cheese I've had.
Yeah, it was kind of like, who picked this cheese? Like, there was a goat cheese. I usually love goat cheese, but this one had, like, a weird fennel flavor. Like, it was a really strong fennel, so it was kind of like herb, like a weird herb, not like a good herb.
Yeah.
Like, if it was garlic, it probably would have been perfect, but it was like, why fennel?
Yeah. All of the cheeses were, like, just okay. Like, there was a Gouda.
The Gouda one was the best
There was a Brie. There was...
blue cheese
a blue cheese.
Like a manchego type thing. I didn't catch what it was. Yeah. But it was one of those things. I think I was also probably just, like, my appetite was gone because I ate so much at dinner. But, yeah. I was like, the Enchanted Rose sounded like, oh, this will be a cute, like, romantic little thing. And it was, the location of it was cool because you could see a lot out the windows and, like, it was Beauty and the Beast theme. But, like... the things we consumed were not great, which was crazy because you expect like the Grand Floridian, like this fancy place to have like really high end, like really nice things that are like this is gonna be memorable, but like the kind of party themed drinks that we had at Oga's Cantina were way better.
And maybe this is kind of like what we talked about with Space 220. Maybe we just got the wrong things,
like
or
maybe we just ordered the wrong.
It was the wrong like time or something. Varas says the Gouda was okaya.
Yeah,
I'll see myself out. I've made my stance on puns. But yeah, you should have skimmed. Or the Gouda was good.
It was the best.
It's probably the best one of the ones that was there.
They had a really nice like honeycomb. That was
that was really. And they had some. It was like some specific type of bread. I forget what it was, but that was very good. But just the cheese itself was just not great.
I think it was like sometimes when I lose my appetite, I need to revert to like very, very basic flavors. So it's like, and sometimes if I've eaten too much, I'm like, sometimes I'll just be like, my stomach doesn't want any more of this. And so like at that point when I don't have as much of an appetite, but I'm like trying to make myself eat stuff, I need something as basic as like French fries.
Yeah.
Like just plain salt, like very simple, or like simple bread. I think that's probably what we should have ordered, was something along those lines. And me not have gotten the Earl Grey weird drink. I should have gotten like a classic, like a mojito or something like that. Or something like what you had, and I probably would have had a better time. But I was just like, I feel like I made all the wrong choices in this experience. Yeah.
And we were at the point, too, where it was getting late. This was our 5th park day.
I was fading. I was dying.
Yeah,
very
it
fast.
was end of, I mean, for you'd done all the races. Like, it was very much like the end of the trip, kind of exhausted. And it was one that, like, we just left. And I know we paid, but we just left.
We paid, but we were kind of like
headed back. And
didn't finish everything and asked for the check.
Yeah.
And then we took the monorail back over to Magic Kingdom to then catch the bus back to with the peasants. It was really funny going to Grand Floridian because it very much felt like we don't belong here.
Yeah, it was a much classier resort than the one we were staying at.
We were dressed for it, but
yeah. Thankfully you'd said that we needed to bring nice stuff for it, because it would have been.
Yeah, and we would have for the California Grill, but like that resort doesn't feel as nice, even though it's like the original resort, and the restaurant's really nice, but it's not as like stuffy fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really love the Grand Floridian and everything, but it is kind of like, this is high end, like there's stuffy fancy and then there's like approachable fancy. Mm-hmm. And I think we should try to do California Grill on our next one, because it's a little bit different. Food was great at Narcoossee's. Yeah,
Narcoossee's was amazing. And
different feel.
Again, like separating Narcoossee's from Enchanted Rose. Like, Narcoossee's was a great experience.
Yeah, Enchanted Rose was...
Enchanted Rose was...
Or either that or we just did it wrong.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
But the Grand Floridian... I feel like the Grand Floridian is also the place you want to go for Christmas, because they do a big, like, gingerbread, like, house. Like, life-size gingerbread house. Like, that one is kind of like... And it's also, like, classic, fancy Disney. But, yeah. It was a fun night, but it was definitely one of those, like, maybe we should have done our date night a little earlier in the week before I was, like, turning into a zombie. But I enjoyed it a lot. It was very fun. And then our last day, we basically got up and packed, and then we spent some time in Disney Springs, and that brings us to our last batch of items that we bought on our flight day. And also, before you go over that, this bag I actually got at the runDisney. So this was their, like, reusable totes. I got this at the runDisney Expo to carry all my stuff in. It's that iridescent, like, gold with the 50th. They're kind of like, they did a really good job, all the parks do, with their reusable bags. They're kind of like, you kind of want, it's not just, would you want to give us $2 so that we don't use reusable, like, one-time use plastics? And you're like, no, actually, the reusable bag is kind
it's just nice,
is its own, like, merch item in itself.
And it's a very usable souvenir too. Kind of like we were discussing earlier with the other one. And so last day, Disney Springs, we did some just kind of general shopping. I picked up some Spider-Man boxers. So they're like the general or generic like heart boxers, but they're Spider-Man and they have like spider webs.
We kept seeing them at other parks. Yeah. I was like, you should get them.
And so I definitely love Spider-Man, and so it was something that I thought was a fun pickup. And then we got a 50th anniversary pin
with the iridescent.
Yeah, and so again, it's a very cool. Kind of. It felt like one of the things with this trip is everyone
content warning.
Content warning. My bad.
Underwear.
My bad, Jane Reedy. And so with it being the 50th anniversary, with it being the run, with it being Mardi Gras, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, that was kind of also the cool thing about doing these races and things, like when we did like during the 50th celebration, because like the race medals had the 50th celebration and stuff on it. And we were originally going to go on this trip last year, but they all got turned virtual because COVID was still like a big deal. And in a lot of ways it became better because I had more time to train, more time to get stronger to do those races, and we got all the 50th stuff in tow. So I got to do 2 trips in like a few months. Anyway, Then also in the shop, in the big World of Disney shop, I got this dainty little castle necklace. It's gonna be hard. There it is. So it's like a teeny tiny little castle. So it's kind of like, it's Disney, but it's not like in your face. So like it's a really like classy necklace to like wear to work and stuff. And my other Disney necklaces too. And so it's like I have a little piece of Disney, but it'll be kind of subtle, which I kind of appreciate.
And you have some Disney castle earrings as well that'll kind of go with. So
yeah, there's a necklace that goes with those, but it's a bit bigger and nicer. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. And then this is a fun item that it's like definitely one of those impulse buy things. It's a soap dispenser. It comes with its own soap. But the fun thing is, this is a little Mickey. And so whenever you pump the foam soap, it makes a Mickey in your hand. So it's super silly, but like I think this is something that the Japan parks had. So like if you stay in the resorts at the Tokyo Disney resorts, they have these in their resorts. And so and I think you can buy them there. And so I think Disney World Florida caught on to it and was like, we should sell those for our 50th anniversary. But yeah, there's kind of a description of in the back of like, it does like a little Mickey. I just kicked my heel on the back of that.
Oh no.
But yeah, so it's a little 50th anniversary soap dispenser. Then I'll do this thing last. And then this I got because it's a cute little bag. And it's the Disney, it says H2O Skincare Travel Essentials. I actually haven't opened it yet because I just wanted the little bag. But it's got, so Disney has their own like line of skincare, like soap and body wash that they have in the resorts. And it's called H2O. And so I get this little bag. And what's in here?
Yeah, so I just
want it.
Y'all seen this a bit with the other stuff of like, we haven't opened stuff. Like we literally just got in last night, unpacked, and then we're so happy to share that with everybody as we went through stuff and chatted through.
This is Hydration Oasis. It's a little refreshing gel moisturizer, so that's nice. Can't have too many of these. And then this is a creamy foaming cleanser. So H2O. So it's kind of like a little face wash kit. But I was like, oh, I can use those, but then I get a cute little bag to keep for like little makeup or travel stuff. I'm a sucker for stuff that has the castle on it, so like oh, a little travel bag with the castle. Yes, I will have that. It was also like more expensive than it probably should be, so hopefully those are good quality products, which I assume they are, because I was like, that's a lot for just that. But and then finally, this was free because I'm a pass holder, but I picked up my pass holder magnet, which this is a thing that they would do for all the pass holders. And they look different, but for the 50th, it's got like glitter on it, and it's like that iridescent rainbow. It's like kind of the pie-eyed is what they call it, Mickey and Minnie, and it says annual pass holder. Which I'm still like, I would love to renew, but we'll have to see where money is at the time. But and also like, if don't have trips planned, I shouldn't pay for it.
For this year, it made sense. But
for this year, it made a lot of
what
sense.
Future looks like.
Yeah, but also it's kind of cool. It's like I was a pass holder for the 50th anniversary year. So, because I activated it in the month that the celebration started. So, even if I don't like keep it up, like I kind of have that. Like I was a pass holder the year that Disney World turned 50. So, and these I got on my last trip, but they're also pass holder ears. So I'm like, while I'm a pass holder, I'm going to get my exclusive items.
Get all your stuff while you can. And that wraps up our trip. We then came back home, got in last night as of the stream. And so today's been recovery day.
I had a massage that my family gave me a gift card for, thankfully, because I did a lot of the planning. I did all of the planning and got everyone's fast passes and everything. I was kind of the ringleader of the circus, as you will.
You were the guru.
And I kind of roped my sister into doing the races and stuff with me, which I think at the end, she really enjoyed. She was like, I feel like she didn't expect it to be as much fun and amazing as it was. I think she was kind of like, well, I'll do this because it'll be good bonding, I guess. But then she's like, it was amazing and I missed the trip and stuff. Like, now you get it.
Now you get the Disney. Got him.
That's why I keep going back. So, yeah.
Yeah, with that brings us to the end of the stream. But before we go, what was your one favorite thing that we did on the trip?
Me?
Yeah.
I think for me, it was just the whole race weekend. I enjoyed all the park stuff, but I think that's the difference because I was just there in October. I kind of did a lot of park stuff in October, and so I was just kind of enjoyed watching all of you and experience the park. So it was kind of, I felt like I was just kind of in the backseat watching everybody experience everything for the first time. Like Hayden getting really excited about all the Star Wars stuff. Like I love that so much. And then and getting to do like the buy the wands and the lightsabers. But yeah, just seeing my family have fun and like kind of reaping the benefits of planning this trip for everybody that people had a good time. But for me, my favorite part was doing the races. I think the 10K was my favorite race. But it's hard because the 10K had a lot going on and it was a good length. It wasn't too long. But but then the half marathon, a lot of it was highways, but you got to go through the castle. So it's kind of even out. The 5K was really fun, but it was really crowded. And I think we kind of zoomed through it where a lot of people were waiting in lines, which I think we could have. We could have taken our time, but I think we just kind of didn't want to wait in lines and we just ran through it. But then we took our time a little bit more on the other races. But I definitely think if I do the 5K again, I'm going to be like, we're going to just take it. Yeah. Take the whole 5K. Like, we're going to make this a 5K that would normally be like 30, 40 minutes and turn it into an hour and a half.
Yeah, just having fun, checking stuff out.
Like, we're just literally just here to take pictures. So I think that was kind of interesting just seeing all of that for the first time. And they had a lot of really inspiring things. Like, they talked about how the Run Disney Princess Weekend is the largest women-focused sporting event in the world.
Wow.
Because there's so many people, but it's like focused on like princesses, like women empowerment and things like that. So, and they had like a really cool video that I tried to post, but it got copyright flagged, of this song called Starting Now by Brandy, which I think was written for like a princess celebration. And it had a bunch of clips from all the various princesses and like them showing strong moments and things like that with this song in the background. And that was really inspiring. And just seeing everyone dressed up, it felt like a convention because people are in costumes. Like, some of them are really elaborate. Some of them are kind of just a basic running costume that's sort of themed. But it felt like everyone was cosplaying while doing a strenuous activity. And then you got to take really cool pictures and be entertained along the way. Like, I think it was interesting that, because I've done races locally, and I think it was interesting doing the Disney races because it kind of felt like combining running and like exercising with like a Disney convention, and it was just like an amazing thing. So it's like endorphins plus all the amazing stuff, and you get shinies at the end. They give you snacks. It was amazing. I want to do it again. I don't know when we'd be able to, but I'll probably have to keep an eye on what themes and stuff they come up with. Like, if they bring the Star Wars races back, I'll probably want to do those. Yeah. Maybe a wine and dine weekend. But I'd probably do just the race weekend and not the full trip afterwards. Yeah. I'd probably do one or the other next time.
Yeah. It was a lot to do all of it. Especially trip. Like we said at the beginning, like when you're talking 10 to 12 miles walking park days on top of doing 22 miles over the weekend of running, like, it's definitely a lot.
Yeah, my feet were not happy with me. But a lot of people do those races and then they go to the park same day. Yeah. Like, probably not for very long. Like, they probably only hop into the park for a few hours before they're like, I'm done. But, like, at least, like, the 10K day, we kind of just bummed around the resort mostly, which was good because I needed the rest. Yeah. But a lot of people get up early, do those races, and then wear themselves out even more. And so, like, especially by the last day, they're like, I'm dead. And then they go home, like, either after Monday or something like that. And then we stayed for a whole week afterwards. I'm just trying to think. But it was a lot of fun. But, yeah, I think if I did it again, I'd do, like, the condensed weekend. Kind of like treat the Run Disney thing like a convention, which is normally over a weekend anyway. Yeah.
So for me, my highlights were Rise of Resistance. It was an amazing experience. Again, it was one of those things just kind of stepping out, and it was such an amazing ride. And it's the, like, I know you had said this before we wrote it, that it's not a specific type of ride because it's kind of a bunch of different things. But it's like the way that nothing feels wasteful, but that there's a lot more going on than just being in a queue. And so it was a super cool experience to get to interact with all of that. It's the only like ride I've ever been on where it's like, man, I don't want to tell you what happened because spoilers. Like that's not like a typical experience. And so it was super fun. And then probably followed, kind of with Galaxy's Edge as a whole, and then followed by getting to go see the Harry Potter stuff at Universal, because we'd seen the Hogwarts side of it at Disneyland, or not Disneyland, at Universal Hollywood. So we'd seen it there, but getting to see Diagon Alley,
basically the same thing.
yeah, but getting to see kind of like the other half of it. We did a bit more of the shopping this time, and got some more stuff, like souvenir type stuff, and so it was very cool to see all of that. Yeah, so that's probably what it was for me, but I think that's going to wrap up our stream. So we'll go and do a raid. Thank you everyone who hung out with us during the cast, or during the chat. We really appreciate you.
You can check out our Instagram and our individual Instagrams for more pictures from the trip.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be posting some stuff throughout the
I'm
the
trying to
upcoming
figure
weeks.
out how to even post. We had like 300 some odd pictures. Like we had like almost 300 just that Disney took, and then I think
All the ones we took,
that
yeah.
many on my phone also. So that was a lot of pictures, but yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, and I know for a lot of people, we're in that First Geek 411 Discord or some other Discords. If you ever have questions, hit us up. Happy to chat about the trip.
If you need help planning a Disney
yeah.
trip, you can talk to me.
Yeah, Deanna knows a lot about that type of stuff. And so, again, if there's ever anything that you have questions about, drop it in. We're going to also be starting a YouTube channel. So this video is going to be over there, hopefully time-stamped, all of that kind of stuff. So if you missed part of it, again, thank you, Madbird Streams, for coming in with the raid. And so if you missed part of our conversation, we'll have it all over there as well. I'm going to try to get it up this week. And so please go check all that stuff out. We'll post links around and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that's what we got. We are going to go raid Mountain Nerds. They're playing some of their version of D&D. Steph Skiles, you did miss it, but we're happy that you could pop in at the end. And again, hopefully we'll have it up on YouTube for you to check out.
It's also the VOD.
Yeah, and there's also the VOD here on Twitch that people can. I always forget that Twitch actually stores VODs.
Yeah, we had to set it up because it was like, oh, it does that anyway.
It's one for me because I just never watch VODs on Twitch. I always just watch it once it's updated. I watch Twitch live or once it's uploaded to YouTube. And so, but yeah, so we're going to go give them a raid. So let's go show them some love and hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your evening. And we will catch you soon.
Bye.